What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Batman News Weekly with a Christmas special. We got something very surprising for you because Clay's here. Clay's actually on this episode.
Hey, what's up, man?
Not much, man. Not much. So I know a lot of people are probably like, what the fuck, seeing this in their feed if they're still subscribed. But yeah, man, I just wanted to do like a random update episode because it feels like the podcast has been dead for a long time in my
Al-
eyes.
Almost a year, dude. I was
Yeah.
just looking back to see which was the last episode that I was on. And it says one bad day, Batman News Weekly 228, 10 months ago.
Yeah.
So that was, gosh, that feels forever ago, though,
March-ish?
dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's funny because as I get older, I feel the years are way shorter. But then I look at like content wise and I'm like, damn, this was a long time ago.
yeah.
And so, like, and a lot's happened. Well, it feels like a lot's happened, and it feels like in terms of like Batman, I feel like not a much has happened.
Yeah, no,
So
it doesn't feel like a whole lot is happening, which is wild. A little bit of a life update. Of course, this is what this episode is about. Um, I currently work at Lunar Distribution, which is the hub for every DC comics to be pushed out to every comic shop around the world. It's not just US, it is literally around the world.
nice.
Um, I work not with DC. I work with all the other small publishers, like Mad Cave and Scout, Vault, Ahoy, like all of these small time guys.
Hmm.
But I mean, I talked with the guy who does work with DC every single day.
Nice.
Um, and sometimes he'll tell me stuff, sometimes he won't. He's like, "Hey, you'll just have to wait until the catalog comes out." That's mainly what I do is we help these publishers with like the solicit rounds and all of this stuff, their final order cutoff dates and all of that. It's to keep a relationship, to keep the industry going, really.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, we talk about you said, not a whole lot has happened with DC and especially with Batman. And I was really looking at like, okay, what is Batman that I can currently read right now? And I will say I haven't read issue number 3 yet, but I've
Hmm.
actually been enjoying Absolute Batman.
Really, I hated the art, so I just could not. Fat, big
Really?
Batman. I'm not. It's also Scott's dude. Scott Snyder has burned every bridge. It's like Gotham. They blew up all the bridges. You can't get out. Like it's no man's land.
And it's funny that he like we even talked about it. Like
Hmm.
when was it oh god damn it. What was that stupid Batman uh
Endgame? No,
no,
not
no,
Endgame. That's the good arc.
yeah,
Is it the one where he's like has Joker in the head
and
thing?
yeah,
Um,
was it last night or last night on
yeah,
Earth
something
or
like that.
something
Yeah,
like that? I can't even remember the title of it. Um but he
I
was
don't know
like,
if I own that.
this is my last Batman book ever.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
of course he went on to write Justice League, and then
Hmm.
he uh was like, oh well, we're doing this whole absolute universe thing.
Yeah.
um it still slaps. I'll be honest, I dig, like, there's things that I like about it and things that I don't like about it.
Hmm.
One thing in particular is that they basically set up every villain in the first issue,
Oh, okay.
which I'm not a huge fan of. If it's supposed to be a completely different universe, like just like
Hmm.
leave it alone, and just kind of let it happen organically. And in absolute Batman, he is a person who grew up with his mother, and his
Hmm.
dad was the one who got gunned down. Uh,
Okay.
and he grew up on the wrong side of Gotham,
Hmm.
and some of his best friends were freaking Edward Nigma, and
They're going that route.
yeah, they're going the route of like all of the main villains were actually his friends when they were kids.
Yeah.
Uh, And in particular, I think issue number 3, I haven't read it yet, but issue number 3 introduces Selena Kyle, who was like a childhood friend also.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
there's that.
depending on who you've read, they've done that before, right? So like Cobblepot came from a rich family in some people's iterations of, of their Batman stories. Tom King will tell you that the Wayne family helped out the orphanage that Selena Kyle grew up in, which is
Mhm.
one of the one hits I don't like from Tom King. That was like one of the things I didn't like that he wrote was Selena Kyle's origin.
Yeah.
For the most part, love everything he does with Bat and Cat, but yeah, it was one of the things I didn't like. But I also don't like the idea that she was a prostitute either. Although some people might be like, "Hey, that's pretty progressive that a prostitute could be fucking a superhero. That's kind of cool." But I'm like, it also came from Frank Miller, who was everybody loved, who he loved every woman being
Yeah.
a prostitute. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. So dude, if we're talking about like non-life update stuff, I will say when it comes to comics, I was keeping up with Batman only. I was suffering through Chip Zdarsky's run because it was so shit. Like it was, dude. The ending to Failsafe was so garbage. All of that was
I
just
like
so
well,
bad.
you had texted me and you're like, dude, you need to at least see what happened. And
Yeah.
so I kind of just like glanced over it because I myself, although I'm technically in the comic book industry now,
Mm-hmm.
it is still so hard just to be able to sit down
Yeah.
and read comics. So I've only been able to read like when my days are really, really slow, which is ironically Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, it's like, hey, I have, like an allotted like hour and a half to be
Mm-hmm.
able to read like maybe 2 or 3 books. And then I have to go back to work. So I read a little bit of Zdarsky stuff, which by the way, don't know if you knew this or if anybody knew this. Zdarsky actually has a magazine that comes out every single month.
Mm.
And uh he writes it himself, but he does interviews with other writers and like
Mm-hmm.
it's in the same vein of like Wizard magazine. Like that's
Okay.
the idea behind it and he wants to like share a little bit of the inside of the industry. I actually grabbed 2 copies the other day when I went to a local comic shop here.
Mm-hmm.
And excuse me. But yeah, I haven't really kept up with Batman either. But then there was these rumors. I know that we were going back and forth about it with this idea of like, oh, are they going to renew Batman to kind of
Reboot.
go, yeah,
Right.
reboot to issue
Mm-hmm.
number 1
Mm-hmm.
to coincide with the superhero movies, that being Superman going back to number 1 with Superman
Mm-hmm.
and Batman going back to number 1 with the Batman. And my coworker made a really good point. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any proof that they are, but
Yeah.
just look what everything that they're doing right now. One, I didn't realize that Hush 2 was going to be in the main line of comics. So Zdarsky is going to be pushed out
Mm-hmm.
or is
Thank
pushed out.
you.
I don't know if they've pushed him out yet, but the
He's finishing
entire
his run. It's
okay,
going
yeah.
to he'll finish on 158 or whatever it's going to be, and then the Hush run runs for how whatever. Because for people that don't know, Hush was part of the original Batman line.
Yeah, it came out 608, I think is like
Yeah, something like that.
the issue. But like they are doing a whole nother 12 issues with that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Jim Lee on art. So you have to guess like, hey, is he gonna have his art in on time? Is that
Yeah.
gonna be like on schedule?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a whole nother year.
Hopefully, too. Every year that these delays happen gives me more time to get into the comic industry. That's what the only positive I love about Zdarsky is that did you read that article that he was supposed to be bi-weekly?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, he was supposed to be bi-weekly, and for whatever reason, he was like, "Yeah, I can't do it, whatever." and which makes it even which. So here's the thing: you can play devil's advocate on both sides. If it was supposed to be bi-weekly, that would make sense why it was kind of shitty because like it felt rushed a lot of the times. But then he was like, I can't do bi-weekly. So it's even shittier that it was a month-long time because like you couldn't fix it. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It depends on how you want to do that. But yeah, so I'm curious to see. I have not. I think I read one issue because didn't they do like before Hush or there's like a continuation of Hush right now going on, right? Which is kind of like the precursor to what's about to happen or just like telling you more about that story. So I'm curious on what's going to happen. I'm also curious if they are going to, and I would assume Loeb is probably going to do this, just ignore what I think it was Paul Dini or somebody that did Heart of Hush. I wonder if they're just going to ignore that.
Dini. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if that'll play a part in it or if that will be erased. Because I couldn't tell you who the writer was, but somebody else has mentioned that Selena has had her heart taken out before. So that means that Hush is canon.
Was it Howard recently?
I don't know if it was Howard, maybe, but like it's surprising that she would have references to other books in her stuff. Because that shit, talk about shitty.
Dude, that book, I didn't even open that book after all the mess that we had read, but I was reading articles, people's comments. The whole 9 Lives thing drove that book into the ground.
Dude, it was so bad. And the crazy thing is it wasn't even interesting like the way she was dying and stuff. Like electrocution, that's one life. And like, oh, some gas, that's one life. I'm like, dude, Batman is in that kind of shit all the time. And so is Selena. She's been through all of that and now she's just dying. Yeah. Like, I don't know, dude. You could have had like some really cool deaths, like spikes through her chest and stuff like that. And then she like, you know, fucking Rick Grimes that shit.
At least something. And again, the idea of 9 lives, it is a silly gimmick.
Yeah.
But lean into it. Like, make at least 3 of them super dramatic. So that way other people within the universe genuinely believe that Selena Kyle is dead, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Or make her like, if you want to get really silly with it, be the Terminator. You know what I mean? She's getting like shot in the head and like still going. You know, she's getting stabbed and she's still going. You're just like, what the hell? You can't beat the Catwoman. Yeah, dude. That thing got into like pharaohs and spirits, and I was just like, and then of course they brought back Valmont, and I'm just like,
I saw that. Yeah.
I was like, dude, and like I have not read Selena since then, or I have not read Catwoman since then. But I want to say I skimmed it, and it looked more interesting than what it had been. But for the most part, like, dude, that thing got so out of hand. And then, yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on in Zdarsky's run. They introduced that new, it's funny that it coincides this, you know, FBI, you might want to look into this, that Zdarsky introduced a murderer that killed a very high-powered person. And we've had that kind of going on in our society lately. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, I hate that Vandal Savage is the commissioner now. Like, that's so dumb. And he was like changing. He was like, he owned all of Bruce's stuff. And then like they fought or whatever. And then that's where Selena got her 9 lives because of the meteor, I think. And then it's so fucking stupid. And then like, I love that superhero comics can be wacky and zany, but Batman, like, I don't know. Like, I think you do have a limit when it comes to some characters sometimes.
Well, like, there's a weird idea, and again, I feel like it's very, like, I don't want to say two-face or hypocritical, but there's like a status quo to characters, right? And I feel like with Batman, it's okay to stray from the status quo every so often.
Yes.
But there's the one element that everybody loves when it comes to Batman. So why go to the extreme? Just like, again, writers can have their own creativity and do what they want and all of that. I genuinely believe that you should be able to do that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to pre-existing characters that have had a status quo, you need to stay in there. If you can't stay in there, then you shouldn't be writing that character. You know?
Or if you are going to go wacky and zany, you need to make it believable. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Selena's thing was just too wacky. And out of nowhere,
Well,
like, I understand that she had like these 9 missions she never wanted to do, but I kind of would have liked, because it would have been cool if she lost all her 9 lives and she's like, damn, I still got 6 missions to do and I don't have any lives left. And she just still did them with no extra lives. Like, that would, I'm like, how did you beat that? You know what I mean?
that would be interesting. And I will kind of go back on what you said in the sense of like make it more realistic. We had realistic with Tynan.
Believable. Different.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I feel like both can be in the same vein sometimes.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So again, believable within the universe that you're in, with the characters that you're playing with, that whole sandbox thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like realistic, we didn't really like. We saw, you know, what Tynan attempted to do with like, oh, you know, the trajectory of this batarang and this grappling hook and like too much. Like, just calm down.
Yeah.
But with this stuff, I think, well, you know, going back to this idea, I think it's a very interesting idea to kind of always go to, because I feel like Batman has done it in animation, now in comics. I think it's happened multiple times in comics, but I had you read Detective Comics number 1090 with the start of Tom Taylor's run.
Yes.
And you thought it was a very interesting read.
Yeah.
The idea of it is that Batman is noticing that he's getting older. He's slowing down. And it's bringing up this new character. And I don't know if you're wanting to like follow the storyline. I haven't read 1092. I don't think 1092 is out, but 1091 is.
I haven't read it. I read like the first 2 pages, but yeah.
But was it 1090 or 91 that he talked with Superman? I'll just say that. Did you?
2. It didn't happen in 1. Or it didn't happen in 90, I mean.
90. It happened in 91.
Yeah.
I'll just say this small spoiler, but like Bruce goes to Clark and he's like, hey, there's this drug and blah, blah. Like, what do I do? And Superman says like, well, I'm who I am, and I'm going to probably outlive everybody here. But if there's a way to do that with you along my side, that would be amazing. So, like, you would think that Superman would be like, hey, that's kind of unethical. Like, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're not worried about, like, all this and that? He's like, no, because I know you, and you're not going to be completely selfish and keep it for yourself. If there's a way to give it to more people and to everyone, you'll figure out a way. And then he flies off. So I like this idea. I actually like this storyline because it does, like, we always question in the sense of like, okay, like we see these reboots for these superhero comics all the time and they never age. Like, when is it gonna be believable? And now Tom Taylor is basically writing an answer for it. And I like it.
Yeah, so I thought it was pretty interesting because it's this idea, and Batman, I don't know if he said this in this, this might have been in 1091, because I only read the first couple of pages, but he talks about, or it might have been at the end of the other one, where he talks about how people are dying and struggling, but I'm over here with the power to live longer. Like, these people with short life or like have terrible lives are dying early, and I have the ability with this new drug to prolong my life. You know what I mean? And so I thought that was an interesting conundrum, you know, to be a part of, because he has the money to do that. And we've also probably on this podcast talked a million times, like people always would ask, like, why doesn't Batman use the Lazarus Pit? Well, the Lazarus Pit makes you go crazy every time you use it. That's why he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Then we had, you know, Scott Snyder was like, Dynesium. Like we'll just
Yeah.
use that, which it'll age him all the way back to his 20s. I don't know how it gets automatically stuck on 20s. Or like
It's
maybe it said peak performance. I don't know.
maybe peak performance. It's funny that we bring this up because didn't Tom Taylor write the Ra's al Ghul One Bad Day that we absolutely hated?
We
Like
hated the ending, yeah.
we liked it all the way until the ending.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did write it. Well, this is what I told you, right? I said this in the Discord. I said that I'm excited because this story seems pretty awesome because there's also like an element of his family involved, like his family history, which I think is pretty good. And so I'm intrigued, but once it gets into 10 issues or so, it's Tom Taylor and he doesn't know really how to stick a landing. So I get a little worried because we thought Nightwing was amazing and then he became a pirate. And then it's just like, yeah, I stopped reading at that point. Yeah. So like, I don't want Batman to become a space ranger. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what Tom Taylor is gonna do. So that's where I get a little bit worried because like Tom Taylor, he's had chances with Batman before. Some have been good, some have been pretty awful. Like that one where he went to London and like had a white suit on or was fighting a bunch of white Batmans. That were you know what I mean? Like
what was it? It was a futuristic story.
Yeah.
And they changed the title, and I can't even remember what it is now.
So, like, there's that Tom Taylor. Like, which one are we going to get? You know what I mean? It seems like we're getting good Tom Taylor for this, which is great. And there's also a good detective element to it, which, thank you, Detective Comics. But we'll have to wait and see. Like, that's the one thing I can say about Tom Taylor is he is a wait-and-see kind of writer. Like, you don't know... Usually it's going to be good at the start. Usually pretty always good at the start. And then, well, let's see where it goes from there. Yeah. But yeah, man. Dude, I feel like another reason. So yeah, I have not been reading a lot of the main Batman, but I also kind of like that I'm like piling up issues to where I can actually read them back to back to back if I want to, which is kind of nice. But the one thing I will say is it felt like everything that was coming out with Batman was all gimmicky stuff. Like there was one with like he's a werewolf or something, or like one wolf thing. Or
it was like Batman Full Moon or something like that. Yeah.
And then Gargoyle never finished, apparently.
No, never finished.
So that was kind of crazy because I was enjoying Gargoyle. Like that looked dope. Yeah. So there was that, and then I know that there was that one where he was fighting aliens in space or something.
Yeah, that was the Jason Aaron run, and I think it finally finished, or at least it hit like huge delays for I don't know what reason. I'll have to ask my coworker on that one.
Yeah, so like there was a lot of that, and I just wasn't seeing anything coming out of Batman. Like Teenie Howard was still there, so I didn't give a shit about Catwoman. Zdarsky was repeating storylines. His whole run has been repeating and just taking ideas from other people. Like it blows my mind. Like that was the one thing you could count on from Zdarsky was repeat stories and trying to explain stuff that does not need to be explained in the Batman universe. We didn't need to know why he wore his underwear on the outside. We didn't need to know Joker's original origin or what the hell he tried to do. We didn't need any more Zur Ra. Like, you know, like I don't understand all of that. Now that it's coming to an end, Clay, is Zdarsky's run worse than Tynan's?
Oh, see, I can't confidently say yes. And the reason is we stuck with Tynan's run the entire time. Whereas we stuck with Chip for a very long time, and then we just, got really caught up with life and, just kind of spot read. I can almost say that Chip's is worse just based off the front end. We had almost said like, man, this is worse than Tynan's whole run. Like, why would he do this type of thing? So I would say, judging off of what I have read personally, yes. But like, because I even think I have to go back. I think Tynan even or Chip even wrote another type of character that was like Tynan's like a racist cop.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Repeat storylines.
Yeah.
Because he's like the Batman. He's like the vigilante Batman that kills people. Like, and he fits into today's society because people are like, oh, well, if you're killing bad guys, we don't care. You know what I mean? Which everybody seems to be okay with, unless you're a CEO. Then people are like, hey, whoa, killing's bad. I'm like, what? You were, no, y'all guys, yes. What? The internet's been funny with that stuff, man. Granted, I don't promote violence here, but the internet has been wild with that shit.
It has been so wild, man.
Yeah, crazy stuff. I guarantee you, we see that storyline in DC Comics in 2025. There's going to be this vigilante character that is behind everybody, and Batman's trying to take him down. Like, you could say that that's Chips right now if you want to, but I think it's going to be more of a status symbol, even if it's a short. I guarantee it.
I could see it. I could even see it in Superman, dude. There's apparently a storyline right now that Lex Luthor is dying of like cancer or something, and like Superman's trying to find a cure. I can 100% see a storyline of like them finding the cure to cancer, and then Lex gets killed just by some like ex-employee.
And
I mean, it would be the idea of like I did everything I could to save him and he still died type of thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Tom King wrote a whole story about that with what's his face, the Target, right? Is that? Am I saying that right? Great story. But yeah, I don't know, man. Freaking comics. I will say I took a big step back. And I think from comics in general, man. In everything. Like, I haven't played video games that are comic book based. I haven't watched really many movies. Dude, because somebody was like calling me out because I said that there's all the news about the MCU's bringing back everybody, it seems like, for the new Secret Wars or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, they're desperate. Like, I made a comment like that. And they were like, oh, you're still going to watch it, Juice, or you're still going to watch it anyways. And I'm like, bro, you know who you're fucking talking to? Like, I have watched 2 MCU movies since Endgame, which were Guardians of the Galaxy
and Black Widow, because you said you wanted
to
watch.
No, I never watched Black Widow.
Oh, really?
I never watched it. It was Deadpool.
Those are you ended up watching
only
Deadpool?
2. Yeah, Deadpool and Guardians. And it's because one had James Gunn. I trust James Gunn, so I went to watch Guardians, even though I didn't like Guardians 2, but I trusted him for 3. And Hugh Jackman. I mean, I wasn't going to miss that, no matter what. And
Hugh
I love
Jackman
Deadpool.
in the suit, man. That was just amazing.
I was like, I had to watch that. And so I watched that. Only 2 Marvel movies I have watched since Endgame. Yeah. Was Spider-Man 2 after Endgame? Before?
Spider-Man
that's when he gets outed.
Yeah, no, it's after.
Okay, so I got dragged to that one. So I saw that one too. So that'd be 3. But I was pretty fast after Endgame, right? Like, I don't think it was.
It was supposed to be, because that was the whole point of the storyline.
Okay, yeah. So I saw 3 out of how many movies? You know what I mean? And shows. I have not seen one Marvel show, which is crazy. 1. So yeah, man, I have not kept up with it. I finally saw the first 2 episodes of Creature Commandos, which I thought was great. Dude, I don't know how you felt about them.
I am loving Creature Commandos.
Yeah.
You need to watch episodes 3 and 4.
3 is there fucking in it? Because there was a lot in the first 2 episodes.
There's a lot of fucking in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
No, but episodes 3 and 4 are, episode 3 is a GI robot episode.
Okay. Nice.
And then episode 4 is a weasel episode.
Yeah, I saw a little clip from it. And I was like, oh, let me watch that. I don't want to spoil it. I was enjoying it, man. Like, the animation is killer. Like, it is great. Especially the action sequences were really good. The action sequence at the end of episode 2 was fantastic. And I was like, dude, this is great. So that leads into, obviously, the Superman trailer, which you're the Superman guy. So what is your thoughts? Because I didn't react. I
was mid conversation with my manager.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a notification from a friend that said, just watch the Superman trailer. I said, mid sentence, I was like, Superman trailer out. And I just walked away. I went into my office, put it on the screen, turned up the volume, and I just watched. I have an office mate. She turned around and started watching it. And I turned it up loud enough to like everybody could hear. So like more people started to like walk into the office. Dude, that was a goddamn beautiful fucking trailer, man.
Yeah.
But also I love the memes that are coming out of it. There was the shot where the guy is throwing a can at
Hmm.
Superman's head, and somebody screenshotted it, and they're like, "Man, it's so nice of James Gunn to invite the Snyder Bros into the movie." I laughed my ass off at that. But dude, like in all reality, as soon as I saw Crypto, I was like, give this movie a 10 out of 10. Like,
Yeah.
I am so glad that Gunn is not veering away from like the fantastical parts of Superman,
Hmm. There's a big
because
ass monster in the fucking trailer.
it's a kaiju. I didn't even
Yeah.
know this because I didn't actually finish reading New 52 Superman.
Hmm.
Issue 15, that exact kaiju thing is on the cover.
Nice.
So it could actually be something from comics. So I'm really glad about that. Um there's a lot of people that are actually dogging on the inclusion of the other heroes. I'm not
Hmm.
entirely sure if that was the best option for Gunn to put them in the trailer. Um
Yeah.
I
I
I
thought
gen-
Metamorpho was Brainiac.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that like his close-up shot is nice, as in like for people to be like, "Oh, who is that?"
Yeah.
Like more curiosity will get people into the theater. Um but I enjoyed everything. The other killer shot was when he saved that little girl from the kaiju like kicking all those tanks,
Yeah.
and like he like put her head down, and like it was all good. It was so
Yeah.
good. The slow motion was really nice as well.
Nitpick there would be I hope they show why she's just one little girl in a random spot. Because it does seem like why is there not other people around there? So I'm kind of hoping like they show like maybe if there's an office building there, hopefully she ran outside to go
Well, it
play.
it
You know what I
it
mean?
kind of reminds me of Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. The
Hmm.
moment where like the balloon is falling down from the parade, and you
Hmm.
have that one little kid that's just like, stupid kid, just run, like just move out of the way.
Hmm.
And then Spider-Man
Yeah.
saves them. It kind of reminds me of that. So I can see a scenario where everybody else has ran,
Hmm.
and like she like just didn't move quick enough.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I'm
Um
hoping. But yeah,
yeah.
because like she's the only one in that area, and I'm like, that's kind of very specific for that shot. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
But I get it. I get it. But no, it's an amazing shot though, because that
Gunn
is
has
Superman.
Gunn has said that almost everything, which is wild to me, by the way,
Hmm.
almost everything in the trailer was from the first part of the movie.
Nice.
So, one thing that we did hear from an interview or whatever that Gunn did is that the movie jumps in the middle of an action sequence. Like
Okay.
there isn't like a cold open with like an origin, and like we get to learn all these things. It's just like boom, there's Superman, there's Lois, there's Lex. Like it just opens.
Hmm.
um I'm totally cool with that, because again, it's going to be 2025. Everybody knows who Superman is. We don't need an origin story. I think it's fine to just open it up like that. um so I'm down, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, no, man, it looked cool. I was, I did a reaction to it. I'm not like, I don't know everything about Superman. I was just kind of saying what I thought, and know you commented on it. So, but I won't say I'm getting worried because I trust in Gunn. It's what we do here. Although we'll always shit on him for saying like, "Oh, this connects to this and this." Like, yeah, fuck you. You just deleted all of those four movies. And they should have never made that video in hindsight now, but it is what it is. Um, we're getting a Clayface movie before we even know who the fuck Batman is.
Yeah, that's the
And
one
it's
I'm a little
live
worried
action?
about. It's live action. He's so from what he has said, and oh shit. Who's
Matt
the other
Reeves?
CEO? No, who's the other CEO?
Oh, Stefan something?
Peter's
Stefan.
Stafford. Yeah. He said that Clayface will be this generation's The Fly.
Okay.
So, have you ever seen The Fly? I have
I don't
seen it
think so.
once, way back in the day, and it was more so I was just passing by my grandmother's kitchen while my uncle was watching it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is basically going to be a body horror type of film.
I don't want villain movies if we don't have Batman.
It's gonna be weird, dude. Because then there's some people that are like, yes, like do this and make Batman the villain, which I'm totally down for.
Yeah.
If we already have Batman.
Yeah.
You
I'm
know?
hoping that they already know who Batman is and it's super under wraps right now and he's at the end of Superman.
Dude, if James Gunn steals our idea, do you remember our conversations about what we
I
wanted
feel
the
we've
ending
talked
to
about
be?
a lot.
We
Yeah.
talked about a lot, but like we talked about how like at the very end of the Superman movie, like we get a post-credit scene, or even before credits, because Gunn has said there's a end-credit scene that does not lead up to anything else. He's already said that. So to bypass that, he could have the scene happen before the credits. It's you just see all of the monitors from the Batcave with all of these different scenes from the movie that we just watched of Superman. And then you just see Batman in his chair looking at everything. If that happens, I'm gonna freak the fuck out.
That would be amazing.
But yeah, I really hope that they have an idea of who it's gonna be. There's a lot of people who still want it to be Glenn Powell. He's a really big name in Hollywood right now.
Yeah, no, I don't want that.
There's also oh gosh, there's another name that was being thrown away.
Apparently he's not gonna be middle age.
Yeah, no, the idea of it being because I saw somebody else, maybe on TikTok, maybe on Instagram Reels, break it down that Gunn has said that Superman is the same age as David Cornsweet in the movie. So I believe Cornsweet is 30 years old. I think he's younger than us. And if that's the case, there was also a tweet from Gunn that said that Batman may be, I think, did he say younger than Superman or maybe older than Superman? That's what he said. He said he may be older than Superman. So
31
he could be
and a half.
31, 33. But that leads me into my question to you. This whole big thing recently, the idea of Matt Reeves being a producer on this Clayface movie within the DCU, there's a lot of speculation that they are going to attempt to push Pattinson's Batman into the DCU.
The way Gunn is talking, he seems like he doesn't want that. Because somebody was like, how are you going to have Clayface a month after Batman 2? He was like, well, it's that, that's not the DCU. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
so,
it was somebody said is like, oh, that was a polite fuck off,
Yeah.
And in my mind, because a friend of mine said it would be bad for business to at least not to ask the question, can we do this? Because of how much money Batman has made with how successful they believe Superman is going to be and all these other things. Okay, sure, and then if Matt Reeves says no, okay, it's not going to happen, But I said, hey, do you know what you could do? Actually use the multiverse here and have Pattinson be Batman with a completely different suit, with a different persona, and take on what he is doing in the Batman. So that way you actually see two versions of the same character.
I am over the multiverse. Marvel has done it to death, and I just don't want to start with that. Like, I just don't want anything to do with it.
But and that's really the thing, though. Like, when I say multiverse, I'm not saying,
Mhm.
hey, we need to actually see and reference these things from the Batman with Pattinson's Batman. No,
Mhm.
just play off like Pattinson has just been, signed on for the DCU, and this is his first
Mhm.
iteration of Batman. Like, there is no like referencing until
Mhm.
you hit something like a Final Crisis or a Crisis on Infinite Earths, and Pattinson is able to have a scene with himself with both Batmans.
Mhm. Yeah, I just don't want Pattinson as Batman personally. Give me a new unknown. I mean, I'm cool with that. Like, if
Yeah,
you're not gonna give me Jake Gyllenhaal, right? Because like Jake
yeah,
Gyllenhaal is in his 40s, so they're not gonna go middle age. Then it's not gonna be Jake Gyllenhaal, which sucks because I think he'd be fantastic. But yeah, I just don't know who they're gonna go with or who they would go with.
yeah,
It's gonna have to be somebody that's like big that can get big and strong, is what I'm assuming James Gunn's gonna want to go with.
yeah.
But seeing that he went Trunks on Superman, I want to know if we're gonna get Trunks on Batman. Like that's my biggest thing. Um,
I think if you have Trunks on Superman, you need Trunks on Batman.
yeah. Who knows, man? We'll see what happens. Also, the idea of like to go back to that question of it, it would be dumb to not question it for the money. We just saw what happened with Joker too. So first movie does
Yeah,
not guarantee second movie success.
yeah.
Um, which is wild. I still haven't seen that movie, by the way.
Neither have
So
I.
I'm waiting for
Yeah. I
Max.
apologize if anybody can hear
Oh
my
yeah.
child screaming right now. It is nap time and she hates it.
Uh, I'm waiting for it to be on Max. And I wonder if they're like, we have to hold off as much as possible before we put it on Max because we know people are waiting for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to go watch it, man. I heard it was so bad. I saw also the nail in the coffin was seeing that clip of what looks like Joaquin Phoenix saying that it's so shit. And like
Oh yeah, when
Lady
he when
Gaga being
he
like, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" Like, you know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm curious about.
I
Uh,
saw a rumor of what was supposed to be the ending of the movie,
uh-huh.
and then I asked a friend of mine who saw it about the rumor, and he's like, I mean, it kind of insinuates, but there's no guarantee, you know."
Mm,
So,
yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, so if they thought this was a success and they wanted to go with Joker 3, they could have."
Yeah.
But it like I'm a little worried that if it is absolutely true, then like yeah, I it would have I think we would have hated the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Again, that's just one of those things where I just was not I still haven't seen Aquaman 2 either. I never saw that, sat down and watched it. Even though that is on Max. Yeah, dude, I just really have been tapped out. Like,
Yeah.
I guess just going into like life stuff, man. Like once I dropped the podcast, I and dude, it's funny when I dropped the podcast, I was extremely stressed out doing it all alone. Cause like for people that don't know, the usual dynamic of the old podcast was I was the one that usually edited the podcast and uploaded it to the channel. Clay
Mhm.
was the one that usually got all the information together. And so like he was like, "Oh, this is the note on this is happening, these are the rumors." And like Clay would also usually read all the comics in case I didn't read all the comics. So
Yep.
it was a good like 50-50 kind of thing going on there. And we were gonna try to switch it up once when we were trying to do content and stuff, but Clay ended up moving away, and it just got like life's life. Like it's just hard to do a lot of stuff when you're moving into a new place and moving across states and shit. And like I was still doing the YouTube and trying to do all this shit, and it just got really. And I think I explained all this in the podcast where I ended it. It was just so stressful, man. Like I could feel the tension in my neck. Like I'm like, oh, I got to review this, and I got to read that, and I got to do this, and then you got to talk for an hour straight. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of insane. I think we kind of just did it before this podcast. I think I did like 10 by myself or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So pretty insane stuff. And I said, and it had to end up cutting it. And it's weird that I didn't learn my lesson from this because recently, if you follow the Discord or you saw my latest video on my YouTube channel, I had like, I don't like to say that I had a mental breakdown because I use this joke with everybody I tell. I wasn't Britney Spears breaking windows and shaving my head. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't like that, but I did have a couple of moments, in late November where I just was so stressed out and I didn't know why. Like, I could not tell why I was so stressed. My job is normal. YouTube was normal. YouTube was actually going pretty well because like I was doing this video series that was getting more views than any of my other content. And Mr. Beast saw my last video, and like it was just like interesting stuff. Like you think that would be like people would be fucking static for that kind of shit, but I was just stressed out. And after I had a dad talk. I talked to my dad. Like I was like, "Yo, man, I don't know what's going on." And like it broke down crying and shit like that because I just couldn't handle like life. And it wasn't like I was suicidal or anything like that, but I couldn't turn my brain off. Like my brain would not turn on. I had like, and I'm getting like tested for this stuff right now, but like I had so much pressure in my eyes, like my eyes hurt, like they felt like I hadn't slept in a while, which was a lie. And I was just, I don't know, man. I had all these physical symptoms that were like insane. And like I went to go see an eye doctor. Eye doctor was like, "You're fine. I don't see anything on your eyes. Like I don't see anything." I'm like, "No, dude, like something's got to be going on." So, which I got to say, having health anxiety and then having a doctor, my eye doctor makes little comments and I can't fucking stand it. So like the first time I went to go see him, it was just a normal eye checkup thing. Cause like I went to the emergency room for vertigo. I think people in Discord saw this. And after vertigo, the ER doctor was like, "You should go get your eyes checked just in case your glasses are bad or something like that." I'm like, "All right, I'm going to go get my eyes checked." And that doctor's all like, "Oh, you're a suspect for glaucoma." And I'm like, "What the fuck's glaucoma?" Of course, I go home and I research it. And like, glaucoma is you going blind. And I'm like, "Oh, fuck." And I'm like, "Oh, shit." And he said, he was like, "If your eyes feel weird again, come back." So my eyes started feeling weird again. And I'm just like, "All right, I got to go back." I go back. And I was like, "Yeah, man." I was like, this chick is doing this stuff for me. And she's like, "So why are you in?" I'm like, doctor told me if my eyes feel weird, I should come back because I'm a suspect for glaucoma." And she's like, "Dude," she's like, 7 out of 10 people are suspects for glaucoma. Like, we're just testing your eye pressures. I'm like, "Well, my eye feels weird." I was like, "Is that the pressure?" She was like, "No, you wouldn't even feel it. Like, it's asymptomatic. Like, you wouldn't feel pressure. Like, it's not a physical pressure you're going to feel. It's like, we can only test it. So like you just got to get your eyes checked every year. And like if the thing keeps going up, then that's when we'll be like, oh, we got to get you on some medicine or whatever." And I'm like, "Well, why the fuck didn't he tell me that?" And so she's like, I was like over here like stressing out for like a month or whatever, you know what I mean? And so this chick's all chill and she's like, "You sound kind of like me." She was like, "Are you like, ADHD or anything like that?" I'm like, "No, I just fucking talk like this." And I was like, "Are you on medication though?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Does it work for you?" And she's like, "It starts to work and then it doesn't work anymore." And I'm like, "See, that's what I fucking hear." Like, I was like, "You got to handle like real situation shit." Cause like, I don't want to get on medication, but I was so stressed that I was thinking about it. And I was just like, and then, so I talked to her and she's like real chill. I'm stressing through that whole fucking thing though. Like, I'm just like, dude, I feel like I'm going to have like a panic attack while I'm there. I get through it and I talk to the doctor again. He searches everything. He's like, "Your eyes are good, man." And he's like, "Are you depressed?" And I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, I was like, "No, dude." Because like, he was like, "Are you on?" He was like, I'll tell him, like, I was like, I might need to get on medication or whatever. He's like, "Are you depressed?" And I was like, "No, I'm not depressed." Because like, that's the one thing I know. Like, I don't feel depressed. Like, I've talked to depressed people before. And I'm like, I don't feel that way. And he's like, "That you know of." And I'm like, this motherfucker. And like, so now I'm like, am I depressed?
You're an eye doctor, motherfucker.
Yeah. And he's all like, and so he's like making these fucking comments and he's like, "Yeah," he's like, "I'm going to order these tests and like, we'll do this in a month or whatever." So I got like this x-ray, and this is funny with all the CEO healthcare shit that's going on and everybody's up in hoopla right now. I have my first instance where I got denied for something. I've never been denied when it comes to healthcare before.
Yeah.
And this doctor wanted 2 x-rays. He wanted to x-ray my eyes and then x-ray my face because he was like, "Your eyes could be hurting if you have like sinus shit. Like if something's going on with your nose, it could be like affecting your eyes." I'm like, "All right." So I go get these x-rays and they denied one. And I'm like, "All right." And the guy's like, "Hey man, it'll be like $800 and something if you need to pay it out of pocket." And I'm just like, shit. And they're like, "You can just hold off because it's pending." And I was like, "We'll just do 1 x-ray today and I can try to get you in before your appointment." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I get this 1 x-ray. Dude, I literally go in to do this like MRI or whatever on my face. And the ER tech or whatever is like, "Why the fuck are we checking your eyes?" They were like, "If I got the face one, I could check both." And I'm like, "I don't know." they're wasting money on this random just eye x-ray instead of doing a whole head face x-ray that you can see everything. She's like, this is so dumb. She's like, all right, let's do the x-ray. And so I do the x-ray, and then so that one, and then they deny the face one, the one that would see my nose. And I'm just like, what the fuck? So the x-ray place is trying to like, fight them on it or whatever, but I got to call them on Monday. And of course, it's the holidays. So, like, if I don't get this X-ray on the 23rd, I'm not going to get it.
You're not going to get into, you're not going to get it.
And then if it goes into the next year, gonna have to pay like high premiums on it or whatever because the thing resets.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, fuck my face, man. Like, so that's kind of what I've been going through. But I actually talked to a psychiatrist too because I've been going to therapy for a while. For people that don't know, yeah, I've been going to therapy for like 3-4 months. Nice. And like my therapist, so crazy thing here is I had an amazing therapist for 4 months and then they switched it on me. He left and I'm all like, oh, what the fuck? And I instantly got like a new therapist and I'm like, oh, what? Dude, this guy was badass. Like he knew about YouTube. He like kind of knew what I was going through. Like he knew the creator mindset. He was like, because I would tell him, I'm like, yeah, dude, this is upsetting me or this is bothering me. And he was like, yeah, well, you're getting upset by a synthetic world, which is online, social media, and everything like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, and you're not spending enough time in the real world. And like, he was just kind of like breaking it down. I'm like, yeah, this fucking guy knows me, man. This guy fucking knows me. And like, dude, I was feeling great with that therapist. And then I switched over and I have a chick therapist now. And she's dope, but you can tell they're very different. Like they're very different. She's more like very subtle, doesn't say much. I almost dropped her after the second session because like we would literally just sit in silence at times. It was so awkward. That's awkward. And I was like, oh, dude. And I was like, all right, I went into it because I give therapy a 3-session thing. For anybody that's going to try therapy, I suggest you do 3 sessions. If you can't, if it doesn't work out, switch to a new therapist after 3 sessions. Because you don't need to stick with the same therapist. On the 3rd session, it was better. And I was like, oh, okay, she's saying some stuff. It's making stuff. But she's got like this voodoo magic to where it's like she plants a seed in my head and I think about it. And then I just start doing it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like the sessions don't seem like they're like, I'm walking away like, oh man, that was a fucking amazing session. It's more like she says shit. And I'm like, I don't think I got anything from today's session. And then it's like, I end up doing whatever she mentioned. Like one time I was telling her, I was like, I want to make mangas, but I don't know how to draw. And she was like, well, can't you just learn? I'm like, no. I was like, to be good at manga? No. I was like, that's insane.
At your age?
At our
age, you can't just learn something like that.
Yeah. I was like, I could if I do nothing else. Like if I spend every day drawing for the next 2 or 3 years, I could probably get good enough to make a manga. Yeah. But still, like that's so much learning. Like I would have to drop everything. But that didn't mean I couldn't like doodle and do like panel layouts or something. I don't know. That was a big noise. Sorry
about that. I don't know what the hell that was.
So I just started doodling like manga panel, like just like I was like, oh yeah, there could be this or that or whatever, right? I started doing like 4 panel shit, which was kind of cool. And I'm like, okay. And then like when I was like at the height of my stress, she was like, oh, you ever thought about getting a massage? And I'm like, yeah, I've done that before. And I was like, that's whatever. And then I ended up getting one like 2 days later because I'm just like, all right, fuck it. I was like, she just points these little things in there. And the last one was before I had my mental breakdown. She was like, when was the last time you cried? And I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I don't remember. And I think I might have said something because I know I cried at some point. I don't know if it was this year, but I cried at some point and I remembered it. But I couldn't remember. I can't remember it every time I try to think about it now. But then I ended up crying like days later, like because I had that fucking breakdown. And I'm just like, this bitch, she's got voodoo magic. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Dude, my therapist, it's so funny. I want to sit down and I would have to subscribe to Apple, but there's this movie called Shrinking. It's about shrinks. Okay. I need to sit down and watch it because my therapist, like the first 2 sessions, I was like, in my mind, I didn't say this out loud. I was like, should this person be a therapist?
Dude, that's how it feels. My chick therapist feels like I'm talking to a friend.
Well, yeah, it totally sounds like I'm talking to a friend. But then she's like, because I'll be totally open with this. Like, me and Abby were having money issues a couple months ago, and she was like, "Same, like, dude, you like we were talking about like grocery costs and all of this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I have $5 in my account and I don't get paid for another week and a half. She's like, Clay, I don't get paid for another week and a half and I have negative $20. So I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, wow. Again, I don't know if you should be my therapist, but you
Yeah.
know, it is what it is. And it is those things. It's I appreciate therapy because it is a outlet of like,
Mhm.
hey, I sometimes can't say these things to my coworkers and can't say these things to my wife. And I don't want to just, you know, what everybody else does is just like yelling into the void of all these social
Yeah.
medias. It's like there's no results from that. So
Mhm.
having my therapist to do that with um is again therapeutic because that's what she is. But then like yeah, it's just a conversation and that's what I enjoy about it.
Yeah, yeah, it's just like a decompression type of thing.
Yeah.
I will say, like, I've cut back my social media big time. So what ended up happening after the breakdown is I realized I was doing too much, man. And I think I talk about it in that video for anybody that wants to go watch it. It's the latest video on my newer channel, which is already a year old, so it's not really a new channel anymore. But I talk about like, dude, I was trying to do like Instagram series on top of YouTube, on top of my job, on top of writing like multiple mangas. I wanted to write a book. Like I was just doing way too much shit. And I was doing it all alone too. Like, and it's crazy because I look back on it, like I was as stressed as I was trying to do the podcast by myself because I was also still doing so much during that time, like
Yeah.
work and YouTube. And I'm like, oh shit, like I can pinpoint some of the like the most stressful times in my life, like when I feel it, and you just feel like you're gonna explode. But the one thing I noticed, man, is after I realized that I'm like, all right, I'm doing too much. I need to cut back on a lot. So YouTube is still a priority. I don't know if it is my number one priority. I was literally, when I was like so stressed, I was thinking about quitting everything, man. I was going to quit my job. I was going to quit YouTube. I was going to quit everything. And I was like, I'm just going to start fucking fresh. Like, I was like, I'm not going to have any endeavors. And I ended up watching a video that same night that I'm thinking about quitting. And it's this chick who's recovered from anxiety. And she listed like 40 or 50 symptoms at the start of this podcast she's on. And I'm like, I had that, had that, had that, had that,
Just
had that.
basically a checklist.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yep,
And
yep,
I'm
yep.
like, I've done all of that. Because my biggest thing was my eyes, dude, and nobody was talking about their eyes. And then I started seeing some of these people that are like, yeah, I had like fucked up eyes. I'm like, oh, explain them to me in depth. Like, what does it feel like exactly? But nobody ever goes like super in depth on how it feels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of just like started assuming that it's kind of the same. And then what that one chick says is she's like, don't quit everything. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like, I thought that was the out. Like, you know what I mean? I thought that was the out to quit. And she was like, you're going to want to feel like you want to quit everything. Just, take a deep breath, like think about it, give it a few days. Don't quit everything. So luckily I didn't quit my job. I didn't quit YouTube, but I don't think YouTube's a priority because I was thinking about quitting and just being a writer, man. I was like, it's still going to be as hard, it's still going to be as hard to get people to read your shit, but at least I would be making progress on all the things I want to write. And I wasn't even thinking about just doing like, it wasn't even going to be mangas or like comic books because I'm like, well, I can't even do those because I'm not an artist. I was like, I can write them. I was like, I could write my 100 issues of Batman, but unless DC is like, damn, this is banger. Like, and I meet Jim Lee and we hit it off. Like, it's going to be really hard to do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then I started thinking, I was like, I could write a book though. So I might start writing a book. But I don't want to really say anything about it because my goal for 2025 is to shut the fuck up and not say anything. Like that's my goal is not to talk about projects. Like, because I do that too much. That's one of the things I really genuinely hate about myself is I will talk about a lot of the cool shit I want to do and I never do it. So now I'm just like going to shut the fuck up. And like, if it comes out, it comes out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Then luckily nobody heard about it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm toying with a bunch of things. Nothing is 100% right now, but the goal for 2025 is just to do things on my own without putting out anything into the world. But so I'm cutting back on a lot of stuff. I'm not trying to be super popular on all these other websites or anything like that. If I drop stuff on Instagram, I'll do it because I want to. Same thing with YouTube. I think I was finding myself, and I don't know if you've ever been in this before, because I know you're on Twitter quite a bit, or maybe you were. I'm not on it much anymore. I was finding myself becoming really negative. And I'm not talking about how we're negative on this podcast, because I think at the end of the day, we still respect the writers of this stuff we complain about. But like, I was finding myself becoming like really negative to where that series I was working on my YouTube was calling out it was calling out misinformation. So I still think I was coming from a good place because a lot of people were saying this stuff about Mr. Beast. I don't give a fuck about Mr. Beast, but I don't like people that spread misinformation. Yeah. And I was like, this guy is flat out lying. I was like, and I can prove it. And I would show all of these instances. And then this other girl got involved. And I was like, this girl is fucking lying too. And like, I was making this series and people were like, finally, somebody that's not biased. Because I didn't give a fuck about, I wasn't like, Mr. Beast is a great guy. I'm like, fuck him. And I'm like, also fuck both of these people. And like, after that series, like I was so stressed making that series because like, I don't think people realize how hard it is to try to be the like moral compass of anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much easier to be a bad guy, like to just shit on people and to talk shit and not care about right information, which is the world we live in now. Like, I feel like everybody just says stuff and doesn't even bother checking it. And like, it's so stressful because the moment you're wrong about something, you're discredited. And I'm like, nobody else is trying to be credited. I'm like, and you're going to shit on me for trying to be that guy? And so like, I was stressing out so much trying to figure out, I was like, this has to be correct information. This has to be right. I can't put out misinformation. And it was just so stressful. And then I was working on, I had the year video coming up, which was supposed to be my latest video that I did. I was going to talk about like all this stuff I was working on. And then I was also going to work on a video about Logan Paul. And that one was going to be a lot more like negative based because it was calling out all of his hypocrisies. And he has a lot of them. And I was going to like just fucking start listing off all of these hypocrisies to show because he like went after this YouTuber that I watch. And I'm like, this guy's just flat out lying on this podcast. And I just didn't want to do it anymore, man. Like, I was just like, I found myself, I'm like, what is this going to do? At the end of the day, like, Logan Paul is still going to be a fucking dick. He's still going to have bajillions of dollars and nothing's going to change. And like, granted, I would probably like maybe open some eyes to some people, which is a good thing, but I'm like stressing the fuck out for no reason. And like this energy could be going somewhere more positive. You know what I mean? And I just felt myself like, I started understanding grifters and I'm like, no, this is bad. I'm going down a bad path. I was like, I do not want to become a grifter. So it was bad.
I've been very off and on Twitter. Mm-hmm. I mainly use it for the group chats that I'm in. And I did sign up for Blue Sky. I had a Blue Sky last year. I actually got one of the invites to it. Yeah. And I've had it for quite some time, but now that it's like freely open for anybody to use, I use that more for work. I've followed all of these creators. I followed all of the people who are in charge of the publishers, and I'm using it more for like a work thing rather than like a, hey, I'm going to just, spew nonsense like I normally do. But yeah, again, not a really big into, social media these days. Still trying to game. I mean, I've been kind of addicted to Marvel Rivals. I'm not gonna lie.
Everybody is,
dude. That game has really popped off. I know that you used to be an Overwatch gamer. Have you tried Marvel Rivals yet?
No, my friend Flores has been trying to get me to play it. I haven't been doing much game. I started playing Madden again recently because it's the only way I could see the Cowboys win. So, I started playing Madden, but it's also like my eyes are still kind of wonky, man. Like one thing I didn't mention it. Yeah,
well, go ahead.
No, it's a longer rant. So if you got something to say,
well, I was gonna say like, especially like with how your eyes are, and I know that sometimes you'll get like vertigo and all these other things. I don't think Marvel Rivals will probably be the game for you.
Yeah. I used to love like Apex, but Apex is what I was playing when I had my panic attack. So like I haven't played Apex a lot. I was still playing PUBG is a lot slower, but still got intense moments. So I was playing PUBG a lot, but I was also playing PUBG during that breakdown area like a few weeks back. And I'm like, dude, I think I just need to like chill on FPS games. Maybe I'm just too old for FPS games nowadays. I don't really know. But I think I'm just trying to get like my mind right and like, kind of deciding stuff. So I'm playing real chill games, still playing Zenless Zone Zero here and there. Nice. I think it's kind of a cool game. But in that whole, like, it's visiting stuff, I actually saw a psychiatrist. So I don't know if you've ever been to a psychiatrist before, because because I asked my therapist flat out, I'm like, what's the difference between you and a psychiatrist? And they're like, they went to medical school. And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh.
yeah.
And they're like, I can't prescribe you anything. Only they can. So you have to go see a psychiatrist. And I was like, but I don't want to be on pills. And then they're like, well, you can still go talk to one to see why. Because I had a lot of questions about pills. Because I didn't want to be a shell of myself if I got on
Yeah.
them. You know what I mean? And so like I was like researching all these people on YouTube that have been through all these different types of drugs. And some people are like, it helped. And they're like, I got these weird side effects. And you're just like, oh, fuck. I was like, let me just go talk to a professional. And so I went to go talk to a psychiatrist. And like I went in there and it was just like this cool dude. And he was like, all right, tell me what's going on. And so like I started doing the whole spiel of everything I've said before, a whole life story. And of course, the psychiatrist will ask those typical movie questions. Do you feel suicidal? Like, do you have trauma from your family? All that kind of jazz. And I talked about certain stuff, man. Like, because unfortunately, I had a friend of 10 years that raped a friend of mine. And like, that was really like traumatic. And like, we worked with them. And like, I thought he was a piece of shit. And I made his life a living hell every time I went to work. Like, if I could, I made it very uncomfortable. And so like, we kind of talked about that and like all this kind of stuff. And, what I came out of that, like, and the thing is different than therapy, man. Like he was just very like knowledgeable and real about stuff. Yeah. And he was like, and I told him everything. I was like what I'm working on. Cause like I go for a walk. I play basketball now. Just something I didn't do before. I just go around shooting the ball. Like I just shoot from the 3-pointer. Like I play around the world by myself. And I'm like, all right, I don't go home until I hit all these spots. And, so like I do stuff to like try to like make my mental better. Started hanging out with friends again. Like that dude, I shuttered myself for a while. Like I was just always home. And like I didn't realize how powerful it is to just go hang out with somebody, like to get out of the house. Yeah. And like so yeah, I just wasn't really having like human interaction. And like he flat out told me, he was like, look, man, he was from everything you're saying, it seems like you're pretty positive on trying to do this without it. I wouldn't give you medication. I'm like, yes, fuck yeah. He's like, but you're borderline. And I'm like, oh fuck. And so he was like, if you came in telling me you couldn't sleep, if you couldn't work, if your anxiety was keeping you from talking to people, I'd put you on medication. Or he says I would suggest medication. And he was because like, that's what medication is for. It's to get you back into the real world. And he was like, you need to be around people. Like, we just came through COVID. A lot of people realize how bad that was to be isolated. Like, and we need to be around people. And I was like, what about introverts? And I was like, they love being alone. And he was like, well, it's still, they have a limited supply of not being around people. Eventually they have to go buy groceries. Eventually, I mean, they could get it ordered, but eventually if two introverts have kids, and they want to raise that kid properly, that kid needs to talk to other kids. So, I mean, they need to talk to other parents. They need to go talk to teachers. Like they have interactions. Like they're not just shut-ins the whole time. And if you are a shut-in, which is usually like a NEET in Japan, like, kind of stuff like that, you start seeing the mental decline. And so like, he was just kind of telling me all that. And I really got into this whole idea, and it sounds so cheesy, man. It's what I fucking hate. But like, you just have to accept feeling like shit. Like you have to accept feeling terrible sometimes, even though, the world's not fair and whatever. And like, that's kind of what he was telling me. Cause he told me, he was like, why didn't you ever like, do more to that guy that like raped your friend, right? And I was like, because I knew that I would get in trouble. Like if I beat him up or I tried to fight him or whatever, like I would get in legal trouble. Or if I just started telling everybody this guy was a rapist, like he could hit me with slander or something like that legally. He was like, okay, so you're aware of the boundaries that you can go to. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. And he was like, and you're also probably aware that would hurt your friend more too. Like if your friend doesn't want anything to do with that, you're going to bring her into something that she probably doesn't want to deal with anymore. I'm like, yeah, of course. That's why I didn't do it. And I wouldn't like go over her head like that. And he was like, okay. He's like, that's where you need to learn to accept stuff. Like if your friend doesn't want to go any forward, yeah, I understand that you feel injustice to this stuff, which I mean, fucking obviously Batman's my favorite character. So like, it's like, you see these injustices in the world, but you also have to realize that you can't solve everything. Like you can't control everything. Like I can tell you that you need medication, but I can't make you take medication. And I was just like, God damn. I was like, sometimes I just gotta fucking accept shit. And like, yeah, dude, there was a few days that I had to write like accept feeling terrible on myself just to remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, now I go to Barnes and Noble like every other day now just to go fucking walk around and like look at books and go to the coffee shop. Like,
No,
yeah,
I've gotten your text of like, what the fuck is this book? And like, yeah,
yeah. The X-Men manga is crazy. It's new apparently. Like came out recently, like
that's
by Viz
awesome.
Media. So and it's huge too. Like I guess they're only doing it in volumes. But like I see that at Barnes and Noble. Dude, I went to the Barnes and Noble, if you remember, the one by our work, our
Okay,
old
yeah,
job.
yeah,
There was
yeah.
that one there. Dude, they had books by Faku there, which is the hentai thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why do y'all have these? And I'm like, what? And
Were
they
they
weren't even
black bagged or
closed.
anything? No.
No. But like
Wow.
I think they were censored though. But I only picked up one because
Okay.
I didn't want to be that guy. I flipped through it real quick. I was like, and I didn't see anything that was very crazy.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, they must be like censored and you're able to buy them here. But I was just like, I was going through because I had sent you that one too about, I'm like, when did Dark Horse start doing manga?
Yeah.
And so I always like to see who's like the manga publisher. And then I saw the Faku logo and I was like, this is the wrong store. So I thought
Y'all
that
know
was
what
pretty
y'all
funny.
have?
Yeah, so it was pretty funny, man. But yeah, dude, I think that's just kind of like what's been happening recently with me for sure is I'm just trying to get back into like stuff I enjoyed because dude, the thing that scared me the most was I was watching Friends and like I can laugh at Friends even though I've seen it a million times and
And you
like
weren't laughing?
no, and I was just like, oh no, because and then like I'm so glad I saw that podcast with that chick though, man, because she literally said she was like, I wasn't getting any enjoyment from TV anymore, and I'm like, oh yes, okay, so this is a sign, like this is a thing of anxiety.
Yeah.
And so like I was like, this is so fucking fantastic. And then yeah, like I was randomly watching it a few nights ago and I laughed again. So I'm like, oh my God, yes. Maybe I'm healing. Like, you know what I mean?
We're back,
It was
baby, we're
scary, man.
back.
Yeah, it was scary for a while, dude. Like, and it wasn't again, I was never suicidal, I was never anything like that. But it was just and I told this to my therapist and my psychiatrist. I was so like there was points in this whole like bad era where I was like, if I feel like shit so much, is it gonna get me to those bad thoughts? You
Yeah.
know, that's what scared me. And they were like, okay, and like that makes sense. And but everybody has intrusive thoughts. Like the one thing I learned too is you're not your thoughts. Like that's what a lot of people need to understand as well. So yeah, I don't know. This is a hardcore therapy podcast, but we've been gone for 10 months, guys. Like
Yeah,
a lot's
man.
happened in 10 months, man. It's pretty good. To be honest, like me and Clay don't talk as much as we used to. Like the podcast was a way that we talked a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still shoot him texts here and there. We go back and forth, or like it's in the Discord. But yeah, man, it's just like the podcast. I think as much as I hated learning everything about Batman and like every spoiler that was out there, the podcast did serve a purpose, which like it definitely kept me in the mindset of wanting to write Batman. But
Yeah.
I haven't read Batman in so long that I'm just like, what would I do writing
Hey,
wise?
I will say maybe you should give Dark Matters a read.
Mm-hmm.
It's just solicited issue number 4 that's going to come out in March.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, issue number 2 is about to come out in January. Dan Waters, our anime boy,
Oh,
yeah, Azrael,
nice.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
he is writing a Batman book, and then he's also on Nightwing. So,
Oh yeah. I gotta check that out. I knew some of those people were getting. What about the tag team that did Clayface? What are they on right now? They need to take
uh,
over Batman. I don't know if they're on
oh,
anything. They were writing
uh,
that one with
Neo
Batwoman and
Year.
all that. They're still doing that?
Well, no, I think that one has ended. Well, even Outsiders, yeah, Outsiders.
Is it still going?
No, Outsiders is.
Hmm.
I think it was canceled.
Oof,
I
that's
don't think it
tough.
was getting a lot of sales.
Yeah.
Uh,
They need to just do volumes, man. Like I
yeah,
don't know why. Like just do 6-issue story. We talked about this a million times on the podcast. That hasn't changed in 10 months. My idea on that has not changed. I still think floppies need to go away. I'm sorry. Dude, I haven't been to a comic shop since they moved. Because
oh yeah,
Heroes
they moved
moved.
into that Burlington's.
Yeah, I haven't been over there.
As wild as it sounds, Heroes and Fantasies is what got me my job.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, there was 7 other people that applied to the job, and I was the only one that came with a comics background. So
Nice. Yeah, dude. I was thinking when it was like coming down to like just like when I was in the worst mental state, I was like, maybe I need to get a job. I was like, is that why I survived so long? Is because I had a job? Like, even though we bitch about the job we had so much, it was just a chatting simulator. Like, we didn't really work that much.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. So like I was just thinking, I was like, dude, is
the
that
amount of time and the amount of shows that you binged in that job?
Dude, I watched
Absolutely
all of
insane.
Naruto, the original Naruto, in a week and a half at that
Yeah.
job. That was crazy.
And then, like, when the big shows came out on HBO, like, everybody would just, like, disperse from the conversation and be like,
Game
okay,
of
we're gonna go watch the
Thrones.
episodes.
Yeah. I remember watching the Jiren fight at work. Like, that was happening. Like, I was watching just fucking Dragon Ball Super there. And like, yeah, it's just wild. That job, man, like I look back on, dude, I told you I saw our old HR manager, right?
Andrew?
No, HR, Rosie.
Oh, Rosie. Really?
Yeah, I saw her when I was getting the X-rays. Dude, it was awkward. It was awkward because like we both knew that I went out with a bang. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh yeah, I kind of burned some bridges when I walked out. So it's funny to like just sit there, and I was just like, so who's still there? All the big people are still there.
I still think about your freaking fuck you stickers like all the time, dude.
I talked to one of the guys like a year later, and I was like, how many of y'all found? And I think they said they found like 3. So there's probably still 2 out there, which is funny. I don't know if one was outside, so like I don't know if that survived the weather.
I don't think so.
And then the only other one I would think, because I know they found the under the desk one. That was the first one they found, which I thought was so funny. They found the clock one, obviously, because you got to change the batteries, and that was the plan for that. And I don't know what the other ones. I think they said they found one behind a door, which I thought was pretty crazy, because that was obviously this is inside baseball shit, but I had put 2 outside actually, but it had rained the first time I put that one, and it faded instantly. And I was like, oh shit. So I ended up putting another one behind a door that had a roof. So it's like it wouldn't get hit by water. They found that one. I'm like, how the fuck? Here's my theory. And I didn't talk about this with this person that long. I think they found one, and that's what everybody did that whole shift.
We gotta find more.
You know how it was. Yeah. Because you know how it was at the job. Like, I think somebody fucking found one, and they're like, dude, we gotta find the other ones. And they just started moving shit, and I wish I could have saw that. Like, that would have been fucking hilarious. Because I know how that job is, man. Everybody's so nosy there, and they want to be like, oh, I found one, the golden ticket. I found the golden ticket. It sucks. I wish I would have done what some of the comments said. They were like, because I put like 5 of 5. So like if you found all 5, you found 5. Somebody was like, you should have put 5 of 6 and only put 5. And because they would have forever looked for one other one. I'm like, oh, that's genius. It's like, that would have been genius. But yeah, man. So like, that's kind of been everything that's been going on. Haven't been doing anything. I still think about like my Batman series here and there. Dude, did you have any New Year's resolutions that you hit or did anything this year? I've failed most of mine.
No, man. Like, I'll be completely honest with you. You know, going into Indiana, like, I was fucking depressed. Like, I was trying to apply to as many places as I could. Wasn't finding any jobs over there. In retrospect, me and Abby talked about this all the time. Like, in retrospect, I probably shouldn't have quit my job at HEB and just like, because I was getting like back pain and all sorts of stuff from driving and stuff because I was a delivery driver. And at the time, she's just quit and we can start our own business and do this whole social media management thing. And in retrospect, probably shouldn't have done that. But, you know, moving up here, I was depressed because I was like, you know, don't really want to leave, but if we need to survive, this is what we're gonna have to do. And like I was just trying to survive with the 1-year-old child. Now she's 2. It's absolutely insane. My as scary and depressed as this sounds, I was like, my resolution is to fucking survive. And here I am. I survived. I think like genuinely like the thing that got me out of that depression was this job because uh
How long have you been there
I
now?
I've only been here since been there since the end of August. So I
Okay.
haven't been working there long. But I worked at
So you were
FedEx
depressed that whole time?
in and out because I was
Okay.
working at FedEx as a delivery driver. That was hell.
Mm-hmm.
Especially moving up here, that was my first job. So in the winter, being a delivery driver where it snows
Mm-hmm.
and is sometime like negative 12 degrees, like golly, dude, like
Yeah, fuck that.
it's been intense sometimes. But then I got a job with a friend up here where I was building office furniture, desks and tables and all that stuff. So I got to learn a thing or two. So that's
Mm-hmm.
very helpful. I rebuilt my desk here. I got a lot of free furniture from there. So I
Mm-hmm.
have a couple chairs and built my own coffee table that's in the living room right now. So that's cool. But like we talk about it all the time. Like if we have the chance to go into the comics industry, just do it, you know?
Yeah.
And Abby was the one that brought this onto my radar. I was like, I knew about this thing about lunar distribution, but I didn't know that it was here. So when
Mm-hmm.
I found out about it, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna apply. And it's so funny because I applied for the office position, but the person who approached me when I got there for my first interview was one of the head warehouse people. And he's
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh, so you're applying for the warehouse position?" I was like, "Nope. I have warehouse experience and I don't need any more of it. So I'm actually applying for the office position." He's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, okay." And then I got two interviews with the staff in the office, and I thought I completely bombed the second one. I thought
Mm,
I did the worst job ever trying to sell myself.
yeah.
And then I was on my way to my therapist and I was in the waiting room waiting for my therapist when I got the call, and they're like, "Hey, we would like to offer you the job." I was like, "Fuck
Nice.
yeah!" And I even told my therapist, I was like, "I was coming here to tell you and complain about how bad I am at interviews, but I got the
Yeah.
job. Cool."
Nice.
Um, so like it's been awesome. Like it sucks that like I don't get to work with people from Image or DC,
Mm-hmm.
but I know that like in time that could probably happen, so I'm totally fine with doing what I'm doing now. I'm meeting some really cool people, so
Do
that's fun within
y'all
itself.
do anything with like cons and stuff or?
So yeah, so I'm gonna be going to C2E2
Oh, nice.
in March or April, and if I'm lucky enough, I'm gonna go to San Diego Comic Con for the first time in my life.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I recently stopped going to Comic-Con. Dude, my whole group pretty much just like I don't want to say we aged out because like there is no age for Comic-Con,
yeah,
but we kind of like the last one, we were just like, ah man, because unfortunately the last one we went to was during the strike.
yeah.
So there was no like it's expensive, man. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
dude, I was like, I need to save money. I need to get out of debt. Like, I can't afford to do Comic-Con. And the thing was, I didn't go last year. I had a badge, but I ended up selling it or I ended up refunding it. And because none of my friends were gonna go. Because I had like my whole group. One guy got out of a while back, and then I had like just the rest of the girls from the group, and one of the girls is dating like this one dude that's got like buku bucks, I think, and they were moving to London. And so I'm like, they're like, yeah, we're gonna just start doing cons in London and stuff. So like, we're gonna be gone from San Diego for a while. And we're like, all right, head out. So it was me and my friend Nikki. It was only us left, and we're like, yo, one more ride, one more, like next year. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, I'll tell you right now, though, Nikki. I was like, if I do not get a good hotel, I'm refunding my shit. None of us got hotels. And we were like, fuck. And I'm like, all right, I'm not going.
Damn.
And she's like, yeah, me either. So she didn't go last year. So she's trying to go this year. But I told her, she was like, are you going to go? And I'm like, no. I was like, I'm trying to go to WrestleMania. And so I was
Hey,
like, I
there we
can't,
go.
yeah.
You're gonna
I
be,
was like,
dude. You're gonna be in my neck of the woods.
well, no,
Oh, no, no, no.
you're thinking about
I'm,
SummerSlam, I
I'm
think.
thinking about SummerSlam. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Well,
it's
there's
gonna
gonna
be
be a
in Vegas,
WrestleMania
right?
in the future. Yeah, it's gonna be in Vegas. But here's the thing, though. So like, I don't go to there then the WrestleMania tickets come up, and dude, they're expensive, like way more expensive than we thought. So my brother didn't want to, like, he was like, they're like 1,300. I was cool with paying 1,300. So I was like, I can make that money by the time WrestleMania comes around. Like, I was cool with it. He was like, I don't know if I want to pay that right now. He was like, let's wait a little bit. We waited not even a day, and they doubled. So they went to 2,600 for the seats we were gonna get. And I'm like, wow, dude. And I need the fuck. And this isn't. I don't have any faith in the new government. If they change this, yo, I'll applaud you. I don't give a shit. If you make things better for my life, I don't give a shit if you're a Republican or whatever. But I don't expect them to change anything when it comes to fucking Ticketmaster and all these fucking bullshit. Dude, the fees were like $400 and something. I'm like, for what? What are you doing? That's like, you need $400 for fees to buy this fucking ticket. So yeah, dude. So no WrestleMania, which, because I love Vegas. Like, I love Vegas. So I'm like, dude, WrestleMania in Vegas would be perfect for me. John Cena's last WrestleMania. The Rock was going to be back. Like, it was going to be amazing. But didn't end up getting tickets. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. Because that is a goal to just go to WrestleMania. So yeah, I don't know. But I know there's going to be in Indianapolis. There's going to be one. I don't know if that's 2026 or 2027 though. But yeah, Indy just signed like a huge fucking deal for WWE. Like, they're getting SummerSlam, WrestleMania, and Royal Rumble, maybe?
I think so. Like
over the course of multiple years. Yeah.
Like I think at the beginning of the fourth quarter. So I think like near summer, like closing into the fourth quarter of this year, it started in Indy. Like a lot of the stuff was. And surprisingly, I've gotten back into wrestling. I don't get to watch it all the time, but if I can catch, well, the thing is, only Raw is going to be on Netflix.
Yeah.
SmackDown is still going to be on USA, and I'm just like, God damn it.
If you want to keep up with it, start listening to a guy named Solomonster. I don't know if you know who Solomonster is. But he's like the main guy to go to listen to, and it's pretty cool because like he has like he has like donations and stuff turned on, so people are always asking him questions, and like he's got a pretty good community. He's got like I think 80,000 subscribers. But dude, he covers Raw, SmackDown, and AEW if you care. But he always covers every pay-per-view, so that's what I like.
So like, sounds off. Okay.
Yeah. So, and he has a podcast. Dude, his podcast has been going for like 18 years or some shit.
Damn.
So like, yeah, he's been doing it for a while, but he's like, I think he's like in his 40s or something like that. He's from New York, and dude, he has insane knowledge about wrestling. Like, he's just like, he's like how we are with Batman and shit. Like, he's like that with wrestling. So like, he'll just be like, oh yeah, in 98 at this and that. Like, he just fucking knows. So I watch him because I don't want, dude, because like when Raw was like 3 hours, I'm just like, oh, that's a lot.
Well, that's the thing. Raw and SmackDown are moving to 3 hours again.
Yeah. So if I'm at home doing nothing, I'll have it on in the background. Yeah. But for the most part, I just listen to him, and then I'll go back and watch the important. Like, if he's like, you should watch this part, like you should watch this, I'll go on like YouTube and watch it. That's kind of how I keep up with it. Because half of the stuff I don't care about. Like, I only like, my most thing I'm excited about right now is obviously like what's happening with the Bloodline. That's the biggest storyline. But I care about, I want Finn Balor to get kicked out of the Judgment Day, so he's Finn Balor again. That's what I want.
So I didn't know who Finn Balor was. Like, I was out of wrestling by the time he jumped on. So I only knew him from the Judgment Day. Okay. And so he's doing like all this stuff. Dude, when he walked out with that stupid bag over his head.
Dude, he's been doing that for a while.
I was like, what the fuck is this? And my friend was like, yeah, it's pretty pathetic. I don't know what he's doing. And like, apparently his wife walked through the room, and she used to be a big wrestler person. And she was like, man, I want old Finn back. And I think that's the way they're going, is to get him kicked out of Judgment Day.
Yeah. I think that's hopefully what's going to happen. He's going to go back to fucking wearing his trunks where every girl thirsts over him. Because he's got abs from fucking Olympus. Like, it's insane. He's so built. Yeah. He got me hurt doing his workout. I was trying to do his workout, and I fucking like think I tore something in my wrist, or I popped something, and I couldn't work out for a while. But I mean, you got to do that workout if you want to look that good. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see what happens with him. And then, yeah, it's been pretty good. The women have been killing it. I've been watching a little bit of NXT because they signed like every badass woman from the indies recently, and like they're just gonna be killing it. So yeah, I've been watching wrestling a lot here and there, but I don't always catch it. Like I usually don't catch SmackDown because it's Friday. Like
Yeah.
it's just such a shitty day to watch wrestling, I think. Um, but yeah, man. And then so that's been like a kind of a vice and stuff, just to kind of like chill and do something like that. I haven't been gaming much. I did a lot of writing in 2024, man. Like a lot of writing.
Nice.
80% of it was hentai. So, but but you know, it's still stories because like the one thing is, man, I don't know if you ever like because you read a lot of the independent stuff, right? So like you're
Yeah.
reading a lot of like Image and all that shit. I also started just reading like a lot of like more webtoon slash manhwa stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like Solo Leveling and stuff. And when you start reading it, because it's so accessible on your phone, I hate the way it translates to physical media. I think it looks shitty in physical media. Um, it's so easy to read. Like it's so
Yeah.
fast to read. You know what I mean?
Just
So
scrolling.
yeah, and so like that's kind of a lot of the stuff I was reading, whether it be adult or non-adult. Like I was just reading a lot of stuff on my phone, and I was noticing like the patterns, like because a lot of hentai sucks, like story wise. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to have like, dude, I became the meme. I read for the plot. I genuinely have. There are some amazing stories that I'm reading, and I'm like, this is awesome. So like I become that guy, which I think is so funny. And I'm like, I want to write like dramatic stories in that genre. Like I think it would just be
Yeah.
so crazy. Because there are some stories that are like people are like, oh, what is this? I was not expecting that. I came here for one thing and I got this. Like that's crazy. So like I want to have like some
Like
stories
pure
like that.
soap opera, like, oh, you killed my
Yeah.
father, and then
Yeah.
fucking in the next page, you're like,
So
what the
like
fuck?
yeah, so there's funny stuff like there's the people that lean into the tropes, right, which I think are very funny. There's people that are just like you can tell like there's no story here. And
Yeah.
then there's people that are actually trying to give you a really good story with the spice and like that shit's like really good. And I'm just like, damn, I was like I kind of want to write some dramatic shit like with that. But I'm talking about like anime level of dramatic, you know what I mean? Like I'm talking about like deaths and shit happening. You're just like, "What?" You know that. So like I started doing some stories like that, and like I've been telling one of my friends who she kind of like reads that kind of shit too, and she's like, dude, she's like really hyped to like read some of them. But I haven't sat down and started doing the scripts. You know what I mean? Because that's
Yeah.
a lot harder to like write out. Like I can
Yeah.
write Batman punches Joker, he grabs Joker, then I'm gonna be like, all right, she starts fucking him, and then like she does this. You know what I mean? So it's just pretty funny, but yeah, I don't know, man. I've done a lot of writing. I think, and I told this to my boss when I was telling him all the anxiety stuff that was going on. But when I said I wanted to quit everything, I was like, I think I just want to be a writer, man. He was like, dude, that's pretty profound to find out that you care about one thing over everything in life. Now, granted, that doesn't include family and stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to like, if everything got taken away that I want to do, like YouTube, everything, like I just want to write. And like he was like, that's pretty crazy, man. So I think I just want to put a lot more effort into writing going forward. And so like that's become my priority opposed to everything else. I'm still gonna do YouTube, but I think I'm not gonna give a fuck if a video does well anymore. And it's just gonna be like a hobby. If one pops, it pops, it's cool. I'm still gonna do some video ideas that I thought were really good. Because I made so many videos that never saw the light of day because I'm like, oh, this needs to be better because it's not gonna get views. And I just started doing a bunch of like drama fucking media bullshit. And yeah, I don't think I want to do that anymore. So yeah, we'll see how that goes, man. But that's been life essentially. So it's been pretty crazy. But with the, I guess we should probably say this: we don't have plans to continue the podcast in case anybody's like they're back, like you know what I mean. Just maybe we'll do one-offs here and there.
And that was the thing. Like we had talked about, like, even because I feel like a bad friend for just dropping the bomb on Juice when I did, and it was like the day of, and I was like, "Hey, peace out. I'm heading out to this." We talked about, hey, let's still do the Joker 2 review. Let's do this and do that. And it was just the fact that those movies ended up bombing and sucking and stuff. So I think, like, if there is something that is so adamant for us to be like, hey, we need to jump on and we do this, then we'll do it. If you guys want to have conversations with us, we're still in the Discord. Like I'm, still active in there, dropping some news that I do. But yeah, like just join our Discord is going to be the biggest thing to be in contact with us.
Yeah, I don't since I had to start dialing stuff back, I don't stream anymore. I don't plan on streaming right now. That was just one of those things that it wasn't growing. I enjoy streaming, I genuinely do. But streaming is a lot funner when you have an audience. And like I was just dividing the audience with like people don't want to go to Twitch and then YouTube's there and I'm like, and I'm just like, it's just stressing me out. I did want to stream on Friday the 13th, but like because that Friday's about to, you're not gonna be able to play Friday anymore, which I gotta have a game sesh with Friday because the game's gonna go offline. You're never gonna be able to play Friday the 13th again because it's about to be shut
That's
down.
wild.
Yeah. So I want to have a game sesh with that at some point. So I gotta try to get some people to join from the Discord. But yeah, like I don't stream anymore. So I'm still in the Discord and stuff like that. So I'll chat it up. Instagram is probably the biggest place to follow me though. I do only keep it on my iPad now. I like deleted it from my phone because I was kind of getting engrossed in it. I'm like, but yeah, I just kind of that's probably the place I am the most. I'm not on Twitter much anymore. Like, dude, I was getting so like I was just always seeing dumb shit that I just wanted to like argue with people, and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I was like, it's just
Dude,
like
like
it fed me so much shit.
my if you swipe to For You, it's just spammed with fucking porn, dude. It's
Yeah,
wild how
yeah.
Twitter has just completely flipped to where like it was curated to like comics talk, movie stuff, and
Hmm.
everything. And then I want to say about like 3 months ago, it just got plastered with porn. I'm just like, Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
so like I had made a secondary thing for that just in case people followed me on mine. So like that was always secondary for me. So I'm like, all right, that's fine if it's there. But I was just getting like a bunch of political bullshit. And like after the election, like I'm just like done. I'm like, it's over. The person won. Like I don't really care.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like riding it out, man. I'm just like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Or life. It's gonna be what it is. You just have to accept it.
Yep.
And we'll go from there. I'm the only positive I'm going to say is like, and I know this isn't going to matter in 4 years because people just see what they want to see, but I'm like, there's no excuse to blame anybody. Y'all got full control now. If we don't
Yeah.
improve, if I don't get my health care, if I don't get all this stuff that you say that you can promise me, y'all had control of everything. Like, so that's
Yeah,
the
like
one thing
the
that
the only
sucks.
thing like for me, like there's some publishers that are like they haven't said like they haven't talked about the elephant in the room, but they're
Hmm.
like starting to push their books to be printed like a year in advance. And
Yeah.
I think it's like people wanting to like get ahead of these tariffs that are possibly coming and everything else.
Hmm.
And if that genuinely happens, it's going to affect my job, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
ooh, like that's gonna be a scary thing. But
Yeah, dude, I don't know if it's true because I didn't have these conversations, but I did see a lot of people talking about like, oh yeah, dude, like I lost my Christmas bonus because they're trying to like speed up production and like they need to use all that money for whatever. And I'm like,
yeah,
we'll see what happens, man. I'm not in that business, so I'm not somebody that's going to be super affected by it until it's like grocery prices and like everything else. And it's like, oh shit, we'll see there. But again, man, like I'm just glad it's over because I was getting tired of all that shit. Like I was just like seeing it I do my text messages from, oh, hey, support me, fucking give me
I
this money. And
had
I'm like,
dude, I
dude,
had people still texting me from Texas. I was like, I don't live there anymore. Can
yeah.
you please take me off this list?
Yeah,
And
I'm
they're like,
getting one
oh, I'm
right
so
now
sorry.
because yeah, somebody's like going against what their oath was. Or I don't know. I'm just like, dude, I was like, I'm so burnt out, man. Like, I don't fucking care. Um, but yeah, I don't know. So like that's one of the things I definitely wanted to get away from social media too, man, was just like there was no winning like in any of that. Like there was no
Yeah,
positive outcome from just fighting. I know some people are like, "Oh, you're just being a sore loser." I'm like, "No, dude, I was done before the election was even voted on." It's just too much, man. Like it's just I got off Twitter a long time ago. I was still posting here and there, but I would not have it was not on my phone like most of the year because I was just like, it's just too much. And then I try to get on. I don't know how it is. Do you ever get on Threads, dude? Every time I get on Threads, it's just people looking for dates. It's like, where's the dating going on here? Hi, how's who's doing this? Like that's all it is. And I'm just like, what the hell? It's just like people from this city that are like, what's going on? I'm hearing, the ATA, whatever. And I'm like, what? And it's just so funny, dude. Like, cause I follow some people, like I follow like Tom King and like people like that. But for the most part, you know how like if you're ever on Instagram, it says like this is happening on Threads. It's just like always like who's doing stuff tonight and whatever. I'm like, the fuck is this? Like it's granted way better than getting like political shit, but it's just so funny because I'll click on that and then it's just like incels fighting with this girl. Like, why are you showing yourself like this? I'm like, oh my God, it's still the same. It's still the same. So that's why I just go to Instagram. I avoid the comments unless I know they're going to be funny.
Yeah.
Like, because sometimes you can just, I'm like, I already know what to expect. Like, there's this chick that I find so hilarious. And I like that she's in on the joke. But have you seen the pink hair chick that sings on Instagram? So she sings like a lot of like emo songs or Haley Williams or whatever. And like everybody just starts saying, they start making all of the comments like band names, but it's like pronouns and stuff like that. And it's like, it's just so funny, dude. And like, they just like make all of these like jokes about that. But she's in on it. She's really cool with it. And then she dropped a Linkin Park thing where she like screams like Chester and everybody's like, oh shit, you're badass. So it's just pretty funny.
Have you heard the new Linkin Park album yet?
I like it.
It's awesome, dude.
Yeah, dude. She's dope. I will
really
say
enjoy it.
The album kind of just like came out and like nobody kind of talked about it though, which kind of sucked. The first two songs came out and people were talking about them because it was like a League of Legends song and then like obviously the first song that they dropped coming back. I listened to it, dude. That is literally, I have a badge on YouTube for being in the top 1% of Linkin Park listeners. Like,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like they sent me a badge, and so like it's like I don't know why YouTube has badges now, but like it just says like badge, so I have it because I moved over to YouTube Music because I get it for free because I pay for premium.
Yeah,
because like that's one thing too. One thing I noticed because you're mentioning the money stuff recently. I think this was part of my stress. Is I had not looked into my finances for a while,
and how many subscriptions you had?
Not that, dude. It's like my job has been slowing down a little bit because like we kind of hit our peak and like so like things are kind of like, hey, we're gonna do less of this and we're gonna try this and like kind of like you know how businesses are like you have especially on YouTube you have to try new things and so we're kind of in a transitional period right now. And I talked about the secret project I was working on at the end of my last video, and so like we kind of like that's a bit on hold right now. So like I was kind of just dwindling stuff back, and I wasn't doing as much at my job. And like, I just thought I was good. I was like, I could pay my bills. I'm good. I like did my finances one day. I was like, I really got to look into what I'm doing. Dude, I realized I was breaking even on my bills. I wasn't even including food.
God.
And
damn.
I'm like, oh, because I do that thing where I pay like everything with my credit card so I can get points for whatever. And then I pay the credit card, right?
Yeah.
And like, I just wasn't paying attention to it. And I'm just like, oh no. And so like I just started cutting everything. I cut Shonen Jump, I cut Crunchyroll, I cut Spotify a while back, but like still was one of those things. And so like I just started cutting everything. I'm still glad that even though AT&T I don't think owns WB anymore, they or whatever, however how that happened, I still get Max for free. So
yeah, so we're grandfathered in. So we still get it for free. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, hell yeah, that's cool. I was worried when it went from HBO Max to Max. I was like, oh no. I was like, is this where they're going to get us?
I thought the same thing. I thought they were going to be like, oh, well, you were grandfathered into HBO Max. Not Max. That's what I was worried about. But nobody said anything yet. So I'm just, my lips are closed.
So I haven't seen Penguin. Have you watched Penguin?
I have not. Apparently it's the best series of the year, apparently.
Yeah. So I haven't watched that. Dude, I tried watching The Batman again. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it, man. I tried.
I think in the new year, Abby is wanting to sit down and watch it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm trying to pace myself. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Just know that this is gonna happen. And you know, all the jokes about, you know, possibly having Pattinson in the DCU. I even like shared the news to a couple of my friends. I was like, shit, we're about to have two Supermans in the same universe and one's gonna dress up like a bat. Fuck.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I'm just like I tried watching it and I'm just like, dude, I just realized how much I didn't like the Riddler. I watched like the first, you know, I thought the intro was great. I think we both said that. Like the intro was great for the movie. And then as the movie goes on, I'm just like, But Penguin looks dope just because it looks like a mob show. Yeah. So I want to give it a chance. But dude, I haven't even watched The Last of Us. I haven't watched the new season of. I haven't watched. I haven't watched the new series of Game of Thrones.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I'm so behind on so much stuff, man. Like, I was watching anime for a while. Like I was trying to catch up on My Hero. I think I caught up on My Hero. I don't know.
Last season's
Um,
coming up pretty soon.
yeah, I'm waiting for that, but I don't have. I was watching Dandadan for a bit. Like that's pretty fire, but then I lost Crunchyroll. I think I can watch it on Netflix though. So I'll have to watch it there. But like, yeah, they haven't been watching much. So
I'm currently watching uh Daima, Dragon Ball Daima.
I watched the. I want it to be the dubbed version. I was watching the Japanese version. I'm like, it's not the same for me. It's just not. So I
Yeah.
need to go back. I was rewatching Super though. So like, I was watching that for a while, and I'm like, damn, this still gives me goosebumps. This show is so
It's
fire.
so good. Dude, I went ahead, I bit the bullet, and I know you're not gonna get it because you're not into fighting games anymore,
Hmm.
but I got Sparking Zero.
Nice.
Holy shit, dude. It's fun. I don't do the online thing. Like I
Yeah.
just do the storyline stuff and like I do the world tournament and like I just like randomly generate characters and I'll
Hmm.
play that whenever I want to. But that game is fucking fire, dude.
Yeah, it looked awesome. I mean, I tried playing Fighters a while back, so I'm like, I can't believe I bought this game and never played it. And I tried playing it, and I just got my ass kicked by the computer. I was just like, I'm so bad at fighting games. But yeah, no, that shit looked awesome, dude. I haven't. There's so many video games I would have loved to play, but I just haven't. I don't know. I I canceled my Amazon Prime too. Like I canceled that.
We're
That ends like in January, I
we're
think.
about to cancel ours too, yeah.
Yeah. So, dude, because once Prime added had ads, I was like, I'm done. I was like, I'm
It's
done. I'm
so
not gonna
dumb.
pay
Like
extra.
I'm okay with paying the once a month whenever
Hmm.
Invincible, The Boys, and other stuff comes out, like just paying it during that
I
month.
haven't seen The Boys.
The latest
No.
season?
Mm-mm. Dude,
Damn,
I haven't
dude.
seen all of Invincible.
I actually had to I was really busy during the time of The Boys and I waited for like half the season to come
Hmm.
out and then I would watch it periodically and then the season ended and I was like, "Oh, I guess I can just binge it now." And I watched the last like 3
Yeah.
episodes.
I was watching a website to bypass. I was paying for Prime, all right? Like I was paying for Prime and I was watching on this website. I was like, hey, there's no commercials on this website, okay?
Yeah.
But then the website got nixed. I'm just like, fuck. So and it's what I had to do with The Walking Dead too, because AMC doesn't have their own shows on their own app, which I think is so stupid.
That's so dumb.
Um, but then I found out that all the Walking Deads are back on Netflix now. I don't know why shit leaves. It's so dumb. Um,
It's something to do with like they're people are these companies are trying to treat their streamers like it's cable and so they want
yeah,
contracts with other streamers. It's just like you're so freaking stupid. Like get the money from the people who want to watch your shows instead
yeah,
of giving it to other people.
yeah. So I got to finish because I was so close to finishing Fear the Walking Dead, and it was getting really good too. I need to finish that, but then I know there's like 5 spin-offs, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like trying to watch an anime. Um, but I kind of want to check those out because I think that show is still good, although I know everybody felt it fell off for a lot of people, but I think it was still really well done, even though it kept going forward. But yeah, dude, I'm so far behind on a lot of stuff. I haven't watched comics or I haven't read comics in a while either, just like in general.
Yeah.
I even stopped like I think the only thing I'm up to date on is Chainsaw Man. It's the only manga I'm up to date on. I started reading that one that everybody's hyped on with the swords.
Swords.
The one, yeah, dude, it was the meme, and then it became like super popular. That anime with the guy that has the swords, like the swords have souls in them, and it's kind of like, oh my god, it's like Kabayasho or some shit like that. I don't know how to say the name of it, but it's like a really popular anime, like or
Oh,
manga,
this is
the swords one.
yeah,
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Kagagurabashi.
Yeah, bunch of
Yeah,
shit. It was
I've
really
seen the
good.
art before. I've seen the art, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I started reading that and then it just like got away from me and then like I don't have the free one anymore. I don't have pay for it, so I can only read the last 3 issues.
I have the first 5 volumes of this one, but I need to actually catch up because I still have Viz on my phone, But Friend,
Oh yeah. I heard a lot of good things about that anime.
yeah,
So
the manga is really, really good. I haven't watched the anime at all.
yeah, no. I'm waiting for Spy Family to come back. Dude, I've been watching. Oh, did you go see Look Back in theaters at all? That's the one shot by the guy that made Chainsaw Man, Fujimoto. That's a really good series. I think it's on. It might be on Crunchyroll now. It's a movie for Look Back. It's really good. If you haven't read the manga, it's pretty much like spot on. So you could watch the movie. But it's
Oh,
a
I did
great.
not see the movie. No.
Yeah, I literally saw it on the last day, and I forgot that I bought tickets. And luckily, the theater that we used to go to, I went and I was like, "Hey, I did it." I was like, "I forgot I bought a movie ticket today." I was like, "Is there any way that I can just like buy the ticket for today and like go watch the movie still, or not like get a refund essentially?" And the chick was like, "Yeah, that's fine," and she just gave me a ticket and let me go inside. And I was like, "Oh my god, thank God," because I had literally paid for it. But yeah, so I saw it in theaters, which was kind of fire. It was a good movie. But dude, that if you ever look into it, that guy Fujimoto who did Chainsaw Man, his like disciples, I guess you want to whatever you want to call him, his team that he was working on with him, they've
Yeah.
all gone on to do something amazing. So one of them, which is so funny, so one of them is the guy that did Dandaran.
Yeah.
Another one is I don't know. They did something else that's kind of crazy as well. I know they worked on Fire Punch as well, but I think Fire Punch was made by Fujimoto, if I'm not mistaken. If not, it was by one of his disciples. Then one of them's randomly Spy Family, and like because that's so different than Chainsaw Man and Dandaran. And
Hmm.
then I forget there's like some other one I think that is also really popular, and like it's insane. Like his tree of people that have worked with him have all gone on to do something amazing.
That's
The
awesome.
story about the Dandaran creator is really cool because apparently he got rejected for like a bunch of stories before, and he was going to quit art. And then like one of his senseis or somebody like that, one of his teachers was like, just draw whatever's in your brain. Just draw. And like, you don't need to quit. Just draw like as a therapeutic thing. So he started drawing, and that's when he came up with Dandara. And he came up with the fucking granny eating wieners and all that kind of shit, kind of stuff. And like he just started throwing stuff out there and got popular. It's just great. So it's nice to hear. I've been doing a lot of that. Like right now, my YouTube feed is all drawing shit and author shit, like just writing stuff. Like that's all it is.
Nice.
And I've just been like reading, like watching all these videos on it because a lot of the creators I've been watching lately. And towards the end of the year, everybody kind of slows down. There's not like a lot of content. Or everybody's just doing like compilation videos, and I'm like, well, I kind of watched all your shit all year. I don't need to watch a compilation video. And then all the streamers have moved over to Twitch, and I'm just like, I can't do the ads on Twitch. It's just kind of bad sometimes. But
I appreciate people who do the 3 minutes of ads every hour now. Like, but those are like the bigger streamers who actually have
yeah,
that opportunity to make that choice. But yeah, like I have one person that I use Prime for right now, and then I'm gonna be getting rid of Prime. So then I'm just gonna be like, oh, I'm
yeah,
not gonna
same.
probably use that anymore. So
It's funny. I don't know if you ever get fed this because like I have since I work on I don't know. Do you pay for YouTube Premium?
no, I don't.
Okay, so you get fed ads then, or do you use an ad block?
I get fed ads, but
Okay.
I skip a majority of them nowadays.
Yeah. Well, so ad block nowadays was also like YouTube was like crunching down on it. Like if you had Google ad block and all that kind of stuff, like YouTube would just not play the video for you. It's like you're using an ad block, you need to stop. Like it was pretty crazy. I know
Damn.
this because I work on I have ad block on this thing I use to like go to some of the other websites I use. I always have like random pop-ups, so I have ad block on. I usually have I pay for YouTube Premium on my main account. But since I work for multiple YouTube channels, oftentimes I'll think I'm on my main account, but I'm watching a video on those accounts. And I'm like, "Oh shit." And I'll get the YouTube stuff. Well, one of the ads I get fed constantly is about an ad blocker, and it's called Pi. And so I just tried it, and it works for Twitch, but it doesn't work for YouTube. So I
That's
just started using it.
stupid.
I'm just like, you're promoting it for YouTube. And so I was watching this person that I like to watch the other day, and like it blocked all the ads on Twitch, and I'm like, hell yeah. So, but they just had an adpocalypse, so they're not making shit off their ads anyways. So, not saying not that I'm justifying, but Twitch is fucking atrocious with their ads. Like they're so invasive,
Yeah.
and it's just like makes me not want to be on the platform. But yeah, man. So that's pretty much all the life stuff. But I don't know if you want to talk about the future. What do you think the future of the DCU is going to be? Or in the future comics, if you want to talk about that too.
Well, future comics. I think right now DC is in a pretty good spot. You know, they are still having Mark Waid kind of lead the Superman family into what they are doing right now, in Action Comics and in Superman, and they're actually sharing books. Like Action Comics is sharing its title for the back end, and they're having a Supergirl story in there. And Superman is having like the back end have a like Connor and Superman of China story like in the back of that too. So everybody's kind of getting their time to shine in some aspect, which I really enjoy. We'll have to see what happens with Batman.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not really big on the idea of Hush. Or correction, not really a big like I'm not really big on the idea of Hush 2, because for one, I think that's a god awful title. Batman Hush 2, like that's
Yeah.
just, it doesn't roll off the tongue. I think it's just like a money gimmick thing.
Could always be Shush though. Don't forget that character.
Right. You're right.
Yeah.
But I want to see if they are ballsy enough to go back to number one, and if they do it with a new writer.
Yeah.
Because, dude, Absolute Batman number one has sold out of 4 printings,
That's crazy.
and it just, at this point, as far as the covers go for those extra printings, they're literally just taking a page from the book and putting it on the cover and sending it out. Like, and it is still selling every single time.
So what are we talking about numbers wise though? Like, are we talking about like 10,000, cheaper than that? Like,
So, actually, well, I don't have my work computer with me. I could tell you like a accurate number, and you know what? I could share that with you after we get off this.
Gotcha.
Because I can't give you exact numbers. I can give you ballpark numbers, especially since we're, you know, pushing this into a live public setting. But dude, yeah, like it's absolutely insane how Absolute Batman has been pushing those numbers. Wonder Woman has been doing the exact same thing.
It's still Tom King, right?
Well, no, Absolute Wonder Woman
Oh.
is Kelly Thompson, and then
Oh, wow.
Absolute Superman is Jason Aaron, who was doing the Space Batman stuff. And I'm
Is
not
Black Label still a thing?
No. I was just having this conversation with my
because
boss.
Vertigo's coming back, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the reason. Like, because just recently, Hollywood Reporter did an interview with some people at DC, and I had asked my manager, who is the one who takes care of all the DC stuff. I was like, "Hey, so I saw this article, you know, pushing out. That's pretty cool that you guys are going into the mainstream media, you know, of news." He's like, "Oh yeah. I was like, you know, one of their, you know, pieces on their headline to get people to read it is, what's the difference between Black Label and what was it? Well, no, it was oh shit. Well, because there's Black Label, then there is Elseworld, and then you know, the Absolute Universe and all of this stuff. So I was like, when was the last time a Black Label book actually came out? And he's like, well, actually, they're not going to be making anymore because Vertigo's back. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like, to the point where there's one book that was Black Label, and its volume 2 is now going to be Vertigo.
That's weird.
And I'm just like, that, like, just aesthetically, a lot of people are not going to like that because it's not going to match up and everything. But it is what it is. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how Vertigo comes back as far as the numbers go as well. I am just like you. I've cut back on a lot of my reading. I am doing the Absolute Universe stuff, and I am doing Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. That's all I'm doing for the time. And Justice League. I am reading Justice League.
Is it who's writing Justice League?
It's Mark Waid. It's because it's unlimited, but it's also Dan Mora, and I have been following Dan Mora since the very beginning of his career. And it just looks absolutely amazing. Like, people have said that Dan Mora is the George Perez of this era. He just draws everyone in every panel that he can, and it looks great. So.
Yeah. I have not seen any of that. I need to buy just volumes again. Like, I need to see if like has King's Wonder Woman been printed in volumes yet? I also kind of want to wait for deluxe versions though.
Yeah. I would say if you are looking for the most bang for your buck, if you go to DCBS, and the actual website is DCBS or DCB Service, so it's Discount Comic Book Service. Everything on DC and Image are basically 40% off.
Nice.
Yeah, and they work off of pre-sales. They work mainly on the initial date. So what that means is when a book is solicited. So our catalog just went live this month. It actually went live this Friday on the 20th. The initial date was January 23rd, because it solicits from January for March. It goes off the initial date. So January 23rd, for anything in that catalog that you want for DCBS, you have to pre-order by January 23rd.
Okay, gotcha.
And that will, they solicit all of the volumes, all the hardcovers, all of the, trade paperbacks. So if you're wanting to get into that and have more bang for your buck, do it with 40% off, dude.
Yeah, I need to buy those because I haven't read anything King's put out. Yeah, that just shows you how much I'm not reading because I would read everything King was putting out. And Wonder Woman was great from what I was reading, but I haven't kept up with it. Penguin was great too. I remember that as well. So yeah, I need to get back into that because I'm not liking. I think is it. Oh yeah, dude. I don't know. We didn't even talk about it, but like, fucking, did you read Joker Year One? Did you read that bullshit?
No, you were the one that kind of helped put some insight on some of that.
Yeah, dude. So essentially, if I remember correctly, because I remember groaning through all of it, he again, I don't know why Zdarsky felt like he needed to give us answers to things that we didn't need to know. He wanted you to have the question on how Joker became so great, like how he's able to like be one-on-one with Batman. And it's because he trained under the same master that Batman had. And so like that's why he knows everything Batman could do. Like, yeah, Zdarsky just made up this random guy that trained Batman with all of this shit. And which kind of shits in the face of Batman going around the world and learning every little thing from a bunch of different masters for that like 12 years or whatever he did. To have this one guy that could teach Joker all this shit is just fucking stupid in my opinion. And like, yeah, well, granted, I should say to be fair to Zdarsky, there were multiple masters in that book, but it seemed like they focused on this one particular one the most because there was like this cat burglar lady that Joker tried to go after in this dollhouse area. But like, yeah, dude, it's just stupid. Like, I didn't need to know that. And also, you just make like, if we're being honest, Zdarsky has done irreparable damage to Joker. If you were to actually consider what he's done. Like he
Yeah.
has actively made the character shittier. And like Jeff Johns used to be my biggest person against that because he invented the three Jokers. Granted, that book was still great, except for that like ending part. But for the most part, like I always thought three Jokers was just stupid because you're taking away from the main character. I always wanted to retcon that and rewrite it, but what Zdarsky did, like this is the one time that I'm hoping for a reboot in DC to just wipe out everything he did. Like that's why I'm okay with a #1 reboot. Like, all right, because I've always thought it would be smart. Like if you're planning on restarting Batman, there should be a year break in between whatever you're retconning. So this is the perfect time to do a Hush 2, right? Because like Hush 2 could probably stand on its own. I highly doubt Loeb is going to care about anything Zdarsky did. I feel like
Yeah,
Loeb is
I
going to
don't
be one of
expect
those.
so, yeah.
Yeah, he's probably Hush 2 is probably going to start right after Hush, or like to maybe take a place a year after Hush or something, right?
Yeah.
So, and then like also if you've been reading like the other like Long Halloweens and stuff, he's just continued his shit. So
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna get anything. So this is perfect because like the way I would handle it, like let's say I was gonna write, right? Like I have my Batman story. I know where I'm gonna pull from. I would tell DC, I'd be like, hey, since I'm gonna do this, I need a break in between so people don't expect me to do whatever the fuck Zdarsky did. You just take 12 months. I would get 12 different writers to tell 12 different one shots. And they just can do whatever they want. It's in Batman, but it's not going to be tied to my shit. These are just random one shot Batman stories. And then that's how you go on to the next writer, which they might have done that a couple of times before, but it's very short. Like it's like, oh, we need a break for like a month or two before the new writer comes in, and then we'll drop that. But I think that's how they should do it. But I'm glad that, going into a new year and we're finally getting rid of Zdarsky. We finally got rid of Howard. So Batman looks bright in 2025. But that can come crashing down if we get a shitty Batman in the DCU. And I don't know who that's going to be. Like, I'm so, like, why have we not got that casting yet? And when are we going to get Wonder Woman? Who's going to be Wonder Woman?
I just saw somebody say they want Mary Marvel. Clarissa Curry.
No, wait. Mary Marvel? You're talking about from the Marvels, right? The hot chick.
No, from
Shazam.
From Shazam. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be down.
The older sister or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. As Wonder Woman.
Yeah. I'd be down with that. I mean, she's probably gonna have to like beef up a little bit. Because I don't think, unless they're gonna give her the Wonder Woman suit that covers the arms and stuff, but which I don't mind that suit. But yeah, I don't know. I'd be down with her. I kind of want her back just as Mary Marvel, like, because Mary Marvel is like, besides Shazam, is probably the biggest other Marvel, because she's had some crazy stories. So,
well, she's had her own stuff. Like nobody else in the family has had their own stuff. Yeah.
I would like that they just bring her back, but I feel like, dude, Zachary Levi has fallen so far, dude. Like that guy. Now, granted, he's probably loving it because his guy won, but his career just seems like it's over.
I think he has now become a straight to streaming, straight to DVD actor.
Yeah. 100%. I heard that they were trying to shop that Purple Crayon movie to streaming services, and nobody wanted to buy it.
Yeah,
and that's why it went to that's why it went to theaters. I don't think you'll see him in anything going forward, like anything big. At least he's gonna be like what's her face, Gina Carano. Like she's gonna be doing those right-wing movies and shit like that.
Oh yeah. Well, it's so awkward because like he did all of this stuff to like really destroy his name, and then Disney was like, "Hey, we are now announcing a live-action Tangled movie."
Yeah, not gonna be him. It's probably gonna be like Timothy Chalamet or some shit.
Dude, I could totally see that. Honestly.
Yeah. I can't believe that, dude. I just seen all this stuff. I'm like, bro, you fell so hard. But I think he openly admitted that he thought that this was gonna be his Captain America. Like he thought that's what. I was like, nope, sorry, buddy. Unfortunately, you came in before James Gunn.
Yep.
So, can you imagine had he? I honestly, I never thought he was going to be the main guy anyways. I thought there should have been, oh my God, what? he was on some show, but the guy I thought would have been the perfect Shazam was on some show about like babysitting or something. But he was fucking hilarious. He was also like super built too. He was one of the heroes in the Valiant YouTube series.
I
He
think
was,
that I know you said babysitting shows. I
yeah,
think I think that show was on I mean, it used to be called ABC Family. I don't know what it's called
yeah,
anymore. I think
but
Freeform, but
yeah,
I think he was on a show on that network.
yeah. He's in the Valiant show. He's the green and gold guy. Whatever that guy. I don't know those characters' names. But he's like it kind of gives me like a Tony Stark kind of Nova vibe. But he's like I think green and gold. Not green and gold, blue and gold. Kind of like he's actually kind of like
Wait, what
fucking
show is it?
the Valiant universe. The am I thinking about the right one? Valiant. It was the one with the Power Ranger was Bloodshot and all of that. Am I thinking of the right thing? Like Bloodshot or Bloodsport? Is it Bloodshot or Bloodsport?
Bloodshot.
Yeah, they had a YouTube series and it was like a ninja guy and like I could have sworn that was Valiant. Didn't we buy
Oh
like a hard drive
yeah.
with?
Jason
Yeah,
David Frank was a part of that.
yeah. So they had like caliber. Well, I wouldn't say high caliber, like well-known actors, I should say.
Yeah.
That were in that, and I think that guy that I wanted to be Shazam is he's one of the characters in there. So he got to be a superhero in something, but he should have been Shazam because he's fucking funny on that babysitting show. So he should have been. I think he would have done it very well. And he's also like a tall, big dude.
Yeah, his name is Derek Feeler.
Yeah, I think so.
Baby Daddy is the show that you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's the show that I immediately thought of. It has the kid from the old Disney Channel show, Smart Guy, smart kid.
Yeah,
with the twin
I know what
sisters.
you're talking about, but I never saw it. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I thought he should have been Shazam. He auditioned for it, but they picked Zachary Levi.
Damn.
Unfortunately, I really hope I wouldn't mind Zachary Levi getting recast, to be honest, and then just keeping some of the other people.
Well, there's a lot of people that are like, man, the old Justice League should just be the Crime Syndicate when it's finally introduced.
I don't think anybody's giving. Wait, were you talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the one that never came out.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was like, Army Hammer ain't coming anywhere near the DCU. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. So, that would have been funny though. I still think Army Hammer would have been a great Batman though.
Yeah,
cannibal jokes or whatever he was doing aside. I think he would have been. Granted, a lot of people are like, "Do you want a blue-eyed Batman though?" I'm just like, Is it Batman's eyes are brown, right?
Yeah.
Am I not mistaken? Yeah, because blue would be kind of weird. I just still want James Gunn to give me white-eyed Batman. I don't think he'll do it, but
I am hoping that the hype around Wolverine gets people on board with white-eyed Batman.
Yeah. You can't show emotion. Fuck out of here. Still hold those things. It might have been gone for 10 months, but I still hold a lot of fucking shit I used to say back in the day. Yeah, I don't know, man. I will say I'm hoping we get because like what Supergirl is going to be filming soon already, or is it filming already?
I think it's gearing up to. I think it's about to start filming.
Yeah.
It's Gunn said that it's going to be the second film to release in the DCU, so it needs to start filming.
And then Clayface is going to be third, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Here's the thing: do you think we get live action Batman first, or do you think we get the announcement of live action Batman because they're announcing a live action movie? What is Mozzarella or whatever his name is doing? I was going to say
Muschietti.
Like, what's he up to?
Muschietti.
He was going to do that, right? Or did that never get confirmed?
I think it was confirmed, but he has been off the radar since Flash.
Yeah. Well, wasn't what's his name going to come back for that It show? When is that going to happen?
Actually, I think they just released, like, I think about a month ago, they released like actual steals. I don't know if it was stills, not steals, stills from the show. I don't know if they've like released a trailer or anything.
Yeah, because I want to say he was going to work on that, wasn't he? Maybe he's doing that, which would be great. But yeah, I'm curious about what they're going to do there. Gunn said that nothing is getting announced until it's green. The script is greenlit. So that means they're moving forward with Clayface. So Clayface is going to happen no matter what.
Somebody asked Gunn the other day, if he is currently like writing his next project in the DCU, and he said that he is pre-writing his next project in the DCU. So
he hasn't said anything about Batman, has he?
Nope.
Oh man.
I think I honestly think it's because he wants to have these discussions with Matt Reeves, because there was, I can't remember who was the big scooper dude who leaked the No Way Home stuff.
No idea.
The big YouTube guy, I can't remember what his name is, but he's like, there's a clip of him on his show. He's like, I probably shouldn't say this on out loud. No, okay, I'll go ahead and say it anyway. And he's like, just be prepared for Matt Reeves. Yeah, John Campea. He was.
You know he does sports now.
What?
Yeah, he does sports now.
No way.
I look him up. John Campea Sports. Like I saw him the other day. And I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know if he does comics anymore. I didn't check. I didn't go that deep. Wild. I just saw that he's doing sports now. But yeah, you were saying he leaked stuff.
Well, he's like, don't be surprised if you start to see Matt Reeves be more included in the DCU. And so, like, he's apparently a producer on this Clayface thing. Like, there might be a chance that anything Gotham related, Batman related in the DCU, he'll start to be a producer on and start to like be heavily involved in. That's the rumor. So I think if that is true, it might be because they're really trying to convince Matt Reeves, hey, you should do the Batman in the DCU.
I just don't want that. Like, I just don't know if he can, to be honest. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he's so ingrained on his version. I don't know if he could do a comic book version. And I just don't want him to. Like, and also, that would go completely against Muschietti.
Yeah.
So, like, I just don't. That rumor, I wouldn't put much stock in. I think it's one of those things where he's a big fixture at DC. And so he's just like, yeah, I'll produce that. He's produced a lot of shit.
Did you watch the animated Batman on Amazon?
No, I haven't actually. Dude, ads kill it, like, for me.
Dude, I will say this. That was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. Yeah.
I saw that they switched up Oswalda, or what the hell's her name?
Yeah, penguin to a female penguin. Yeah.
But, like, they fucked up her name, right?
It's instead of Oswald, it's Oswalda. Yeah.
Yeah, or some shit like that. I don't know. That was like one of those unnecessary changes when you have so many female Batman characters. Like, I don't know what Bruce Timm is doing there because he's on that show, right?
Yeah.
Like, it makes no sense. Like, dude, you have so many female Batman characters. Give them the fucking spotlight. But like, no, that's just fucking gender bend. This is one of those stupid random changes. But yeah, I gotta watch that, dude. I completely forgot that existed. So
yeah, that
needs to be on Max, but unfortunately, that's gonna be Amazon only, right? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I got to see if I can find that somewhere to watch because I don't know, man. Like, the ad experience is so bad. Like, and also it's the same ad over and over. If you were to switch it up on me,
that's the thing, man. For me, like, if I watch anything on Hulu, dude, it's the same ad every single time, and sometimes it's the same ad back to back every single time.
Yeah,
like, Jesus Christ, guys!
So
like,
terrible.
Just change it up a little bit.
Yeah, my dog's going crazy now. Yeah, dude, that's like one of the worst experiences. I hate ads. I can't do it. It's just so terrible. But yeah, I don't know, man. I have not kept up with a lot of Batman stuff. I need to get back into it. I want to read more. I don't know. The future's bright, but it is going to come down to who Batman's gonna be, man. We have to get it in 2025, right? Like we have to get that announcement.
I am hoping. I think
Because like when would you start shooting the movie?
well, like there was um there was a friend of mine that was like, "Oh, if it's the case that Reeves is doing Batman in the DCU, but he still wants to finish his Batman, we're not getting Batman in DCU until 2038." I'm like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I hope
Because
not.
when did the Batman came out during COVID, right? Like right after. So like
Right after.
2021,
Yeah.
2021, 2022-ish. Yeah, we're already going into 2025, and that movie doesn't come out till 2026. Yeah, dude, I don't know. And then they're ranting about Penguins, so we'll see. Now, Gunn did kill his other series though. So, because
Which one?
Arkham's not gonna happen. Like, they killed that, from my understanding. And that would be the second series that they've killed. Because like they also kind of killed the Gotham
Yeah.
PD one.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if he is really like, I don't know, man. I want to know if Gunn is just being like, we're using all those people in the DCU, so I can't have you have that show. Like, if you want to do something with Penguin, that's fine. You want to do grounded shit, that's fine. But yeah, I did think it's funny. I do think it kind of sucks that Penguin does have Falcone in it, but it's a different actor. I believe it's Mark Strong, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think what's his name's reason for not being in the show is stupid. That he was like, oh yeah, the show's gonna have a lot of violence against women. That's not my thing. And he literally tries to kill Catwoman in the Batman.
In the Batman.
Yeah, I'm like, what's going on there, man? Well, I don't get your reasoning there. Was it a money thing? Because I was like, why wouldn't you just do that? But I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny. But anyways, man, that's kind of I don't know if you got anything else you want to talk about. What's going on in the podcast?
Yeah, no, I
Let the
think
world know.
that's really it on my end. Trying to think if there is anything worth adding.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna be watching Sonic 2 tonight, and then hopefully on my birthday in the new year, I'm gonna go watch Sonic 3.
Nice. Still haven't seen the first one.
And then I'm probably not gonna go see another movie in theaters until probably Captain America, if that, you know.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, the last thing I saw was that Look Back movie, which is an anime. I think I probably saw more anime movies in theaters than I did actual movies in theaters in 2024.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I went and I saw like the Blue Lock movie, which oh my god, that is probably going to be the biggest fall off in animation history for
I
Blue
heard a
Lock.
lot. Like I never watched Blue Lock. That's the
Hmm.
soccer one, right?
Yeah, yeah, dude. The first one's great.
Dude,
First one's
I
great.
heard like I saw the comparisons
Yeah,
of like the dribbling of the ball in season 1 compared to what they do now, and I'm like,
yeah.
dude, that's night and day. That's bad.
Dude, it's like how DC takes the comic panels and makes them into animations. It's like
Yes.
that. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy and it's like why? Dude, I don't know what happened there. Like whoever's running that studio, they must have like spent the whole budget on blow or something. I don't understand what happened, but season 1 fantastic. But now I have a reason to actually like collect the volumes and read because like the series is great. Like I thought it was great to read. Like that series like made me want to write a sports manga because like I was just enjoying it so much.
Hmm.
But seeing that the animation fell off so bad, that every episode that came out of season 2, there was new people talking shit about it. Like it was crazy. I'm like, damn, that's sad. Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know what I'll be doing. I think, like I said, man, 2025 for me, like going forward, is I will say I did on my birthday last year, I recorded a future juice video. So I'll be reacting to that for a
Oh,
video.
nice. Yeah.
I don't remember what I fucking said. And so like that's gonna be intriguing. I don't remember what I said in that video. So that should be interesting. So that'll probably drop on my birthday. But yeah, man, I don't know. I think 2025, I'm just gonna try to focus more on projects, not really talk about them, not really I don't know what I'm gonna be doing YouTube wise. We'll see, but I'm hoping it's a lot more positive. At least that's what I'm trying to go into it with, a lot more positive than just being like, we'll see what happens. So
No,
that's
for me, I'm gonna write out this job because again, I haven't even been there for 6 months, and I'm really really enjoying it. And both the manager right above me and even Abby were like, now that you're technically in the comic industry again, like for like really the first time, are you gonna consider writing again? And I was like, I don't know if I can. Like, I don't know if it would be like a conflict of interest, like or
I don't
whatever.
think so. Why would it
Yeah,
be?
and then my boss, even my manager, my boss was just like, just use a pen name. Fuck them. Like if our boss wants to say something about it, about
Yeah,
distributing your comic, just use a pen name. They won't know it's
yeah,
you. So we'll see.
yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Just make sure you don't make it Asian,
Yeah,
because there's
no
been those
shit,
guys that have
dude.
done that.
There's been a couple guys in Marvel that have done that. I'm just like, are
Yeah.
you stupid?
Do they do it to get into the manga space though? Because like I understand why they would do it. I wouldn't do it personally, but I understand why they would do it.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like an awkward choice, man.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because like there was rumors for a long time that like if you didn't have a Japanese name, you weren't going to get considered in the manga industry. But again, I don't know if that's what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
I don't. I just remember hearing stories about that, but I think it's changed a lot too. Also, I don't know if you saw that video that I posted in the Discord about Corey Kenshin, that YouTuber that made his own manga. So he made a manga called "We Are Monsters," or "The Monsters We Make" is what it's called. The Monsters We Make, and it's an interesting concept, man. So his concept for this manga, and he's doing it by volumes. So I already bought it. I bought it for like $17. I got the digital version. I haven't read it yet, but the physical version will ship out in March. But this dude got a whole team together to make this animation, this manga series happen. And the concept is a lot of stuff. I think it's like 2034 or something like that. A lot of stuff has happened, wars and shit, as he said. And the main character, I forget his name, is like to get into a special school, you have to be a savant in something.
For
So, like,
Jabari Booker, the new Eden Academy promised a future of
yeah,
music and mastery.
yeah. So you have to be a savant that can, like, I guess this guy can play like the piano or something really well or masters everything. And he thinks he's getting into this very prestigious school. And I guess it's going to be like, oh no, we fight monsters kind of shit. And he doesn't expect that. And so, like, these characters all have these, like, their abilities are them being really good at other shit. And then I guess their
Yeah.
suits are going to enhance that, or their abilities are going to be enhanced by those suits. I don't really know because they all wear these outfits. But it looks interesting. It's like it's a mix of horror and shonen kind of stuff. So I'm interested to see read it. My thing is I always love reading um stories from YouTubers to see if they can actually write.
Yeah.
Because I know like I wanted to make a video on this, but it would be pretty expensive. I wanted to buy all the YouTuber books, and people have done this, so it's not an original idea. But I wanted to buy all the YouTuber books, but now that it's like years since they've come out, to see if they actually hold up or if they're just terrible. Because I know I bought a streamer book from this chick one time. God, it was fucking terribly written. It was so bad. I read like the first chapter and I was like, I can't read this anymore. It was so bad. Because I genuinely think she wrote it herself and did not have an editor and never knew about editing herself. Like it
Yeah.
was terrible. But on Amazon, anybody can be an author. So, which is kind of
Yeah.
crazy. You can literally write a book in 10 minutes if you want. And I think we really need to start like we got to come up with something with AI to kick AI out of shit you can buy, man. Because like people are
Yeah.
just farting out AI books now, and it's just like all this dumb shit. I'm like, there needs to be something. Like you need a proof, like you need to send in like how you wrote
I
this
thought
or
I
what.
saw like somebody share an article somewhere that's like, oh yeah, we're basically gonna flood the market with a whole bunch of AI books and see which one slaps the hardest. Like,
Oh, Colin Kaepernick was gonna do AI comics. So like He had
Jeez.
all the goodwill in the world, and like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just like shit on people's art by doing AI comics. It's like, wow. But
That's
yeah,
the
no, there's like a
worst.
lot of people that are doing. Dude, I got an email from a company that was like, hey, we want to make a book about your YouTube, and we'll use AI to make a book. We'll use all of your videos to create a AI book for you that you could promote to your audience. I'm like, who the fuck would want to read
No.
that?
What,
Like, what is that
the
gonna
fuck?
do? Like, I don't know. I'm curious about what it would become because they wanted to do it to my reaction channel. Like, what is that gonna be? Me just reacting to shit? Like, what story is there? Like,
Yikes.
I could write that like, oh yeah, a reactor, like every time he reacts to something, like that thing becomes real or whatever. Like you could do some shit like that. But what's that fuck's AI gonna do with my videos by like throwing it in a generator and making a story? Like, I don't understand because they would just be stealing from whatever I'm watching. So they, oh, there's Superman flies across the screen. I'm like, yeah, I don't own any of that shit. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, so crazy, dude. Like, but I think it's a quick buck. Like everybody's trying to make a quick buck. Look at Hawk Tuah girl. So making meme coins. You know what I mean? Crazy. But anyways, man, that's all I got to say for this podcast. Clay, I don't know if you got anything else. We can close it out.
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, man. So yeah, again, just to reiterate this, hope you guys are having a good holiday season if you celebrate it. I just wanted to throw something out there. If something pops off that's really cool and we want to jump on and do stuff in the future, I think that'd be down. I'm down with that. But do not expect a weekly podcast. Do not expect a monthly podcast because I'm still just trying to get my mental right. So like, I'm not going to commit to anything like this, but I'm down to do it once off every here and there. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you guys are all doing well.
I will make
Oh, go
this
for it.
promise. I will make this
Uh-huh.
promise. When Batman is announced, are you down
I'm
to
down.
talk
Yeah,
about
we
it?
can do a podcast for that. I really
Yeah.
hope it's not next week. that would be so fast. Like, oh shit, it looks like we're doing this weekly again. But no, yeah, I'd be down. Once it's announced, I'm down to jump on and do. Granted, we cannot promise that it'll be on time.
Yeah,
So
that's also true. We got to
'cause
coordinate and everything else.
yeah.
And it'll be by that time it'll be old news, but at least we'll sit down and talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we'll guarantee you guys that one, barring anything crazy happening. But that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. As always, he is Fanboy Clay. I am Juice Ween, and remember, Batman is awesome. See you guys next time.
News Weekly.